Disclaimer: the information and education material contained herein is meant to promote the general understanding and dialogue of GAN's processing. Such information is not meant or intended to serve as a substitute for a healthcare professional's clinical training, experience, or judgment. For patients and individuals, such information is not to be a substitute for professional medical, therapeutic, or healthcare advice or counseling. For medical issues or concerns, including decisions about medications and other treatments, readers, viewers, listeners should always consult their physician or, in serious cases, seek immediate assistance from emergency personnel. Prescription information, procedures, and use of medical devices information should be undertaken only by properly trained and certified medical personnel. We specifically disclaim any warranties, express or implied, including implied warranties of merchantability or fitness for a particular purpose. Such information is provided, as is, and is believed to be accurate at the time of its publishing, but it is the viewer's job to evaluate the accuracy of any information found in this presentation. Every case presented is of their own experience, applied by themselves for themselves, and it applies to their case only. Every person experiencing health problems should seek professional medical advice and consult their course of treatment with a doctor. The processes of plasma balancing described herein are a natural process which supports the body but does not replace medical advice or therapies one is already subject to.
In a world where value is measured from the outside, we have forgotten the profound wealth that lives within. For too long, the pressure of survival has created a distance between us, leaving the most vulnerable to struggle in silence. But wealth is not found in scarcity or control. True value begins with the human spirit and the knowledge we share. Imagine a moment where every new life is recognized, not as a burden, but as the initial capital of our future peace. At the first breath, a child receives recognition. An equal foundation is set for food, medicine, education, and dignity. No one is left behind. From every corner of the earth, the same recognition is granted. Equality is no longer a dream, it is the protocol. Behind this vision lies a secure, decentralized infrastructure, a blockchain built for service, not speculation. This network is the pulse of a new humanity, low energy, transparent, and grounded in collective responsibility. When basic needs are met, the mind becomes free, education replaces survival, and knowledge creates the path to peace. Through participation and service, we express our true value. We are no longer competitors, we are contributors. Our technology now serves life. The scars of the old world are healed by the wisdom of the new. We are one people, on one planet, moving toward one destiny. The shadows of the past have finally given way to the light. When we stop fighting ourselves, we begin to search the universe. Peace is the foundation. The stars are our destination. Our journey into the deep mysteries of existence has only just begun. We turn toward the stars with open hearts. Value begins with the human, grows through knowledge, and evolves toward an eternal peace.
And welcome each and all to the Keshe American Knowledge Team. It's July 5th, 2026. I'm your host, Mark Anderson, along with Alex Skorick. Of course, he'll be here as Alex in the energy dimension today, but we have all the rest of us participating, interacting, and creating new knowledges in a way. But it's so profound what's happening in the background. I remember Mr. Keshe saying that all we needed was a set of headphones and they'll handle everything in the background. And it certainly is being handled in the background. Although in the last workshop, he did say there's something the knowledge seekers can do, and that's replicate, copy the foundation or the association, excuse me, the club set up in Austria and bring it into your country as an association, a direct copy, a duplicate, he said, and link it. And he's doing a lot of linking in the background with the coins, the research centers. But each nation apparently will have a platform which eventually will be probably subsumed into one structure. But right now, we can start an association, and we'll have to see. We need some further direction, as one of the knowledge seekers said. I've never set up a club or an association, but apparently they have fishing clubs and hunting clubs and every other sort of club. But we're going to model this all on the Austrian model, which apparently one expert has been brought in, someone told me, and they've read through it and said this is one of the best associations to be a member of. So this is part of the whole structure, and this is where you'll the exchange of the coins in the game and the all of it is being connected together. But the association is an integral part of being a member of a club to facilitate future interactions, let's say, as club members rather than as the general public. So we're going to cover a bit about the 649. We'll listen to the announcements. Mr. Keshe gave Rick an extra video in a way. But anyone want to add anything before we just, again, reconfirm our ethos about world peace and finding peace within our own universe first and then the others. But we're going to go to the World Peace Treaty next. But it certainly seems like an amazing grace, this gift of the coins and being able to earn extra coins in the game. But again, if we went back to the last workshop, we're going to just take a look at that. But in 648, I don't think this was the one, but if let's just see here. Yeah, it's got 1,000 of years to go. It's a very, very long process, and there is no rush for it. It's got 1,000 of years to go. So we're just at the very beginning, just starting to scratch the surface, and so much more to happen. And I think we're going to see much of this happening even before the end of the 1,000 years. That's probably when it'll be perfect. And of course, we can help the Keshe Foundation. They need a lot of support, but just by playing the game is one of the ways you can help perfect the system, although some think it's gone deeper into the malfunctions of the AI and so on. But we'll talk more about that and show you a little bit about the game. But this is our World Peace Treaty. It was funny, I had bookmarked this recently, and I went back to it today, and it said forbidden. And even when I looked on Brave, for the Keshe World Peace Treaty, it said it couldn't find it. It said, oops. Let's see if I can bring Brave up when I put in the World Peace Treaty. Now, that may be something on my system, but I don't know. I put Keshe plus World plus Peace. I mean, it did that. And it said it can't open this page. Ah, snap. Something went wrong while displaying this page. But that's what it's all about. It's not the final destination, but it certainly is finding peace on this planet is the next step or the next plateau in a way in getting involved more with the universal community or this dimension of energy. Again, he made it quite clear that you don't really go out into the universe with rockets and UFOs, although that is a way to do it, but you actually invite the soul of the universe within your universe, and then you have some interactions apparently. But it starts with becoming or wishing to become more perfect and more peaceful in your thinking, in your speaking, and in your acting. I'm not there yet. I'm not the most perfect cookie in the jar, but I'm still in the jar and I'm wishing to become more perfect. And that's what we were created for, to become perfect. And I think the entire universe is getting an upgrade as this knowledge will be cataloged here and then dispersed throughout the universe. And of course, man was always considered by the universal community as insignificant dust in the universe, on this little speck of dust, a speck on a speck in a way, but now we're going to become quite important dust in the universe as we start to deliver and upgrade and turn other atoms apparently and see other things turn. So this is the World Peace Treaty. And again, I had to sort of, but this is the agreement between you and your soul. Would anyone like to read the World Peace Treaty? It may be too small. I don't seem to have the bookmark proper. Even going to the Keshe Foundation, there was some blockage or something. I'm not sure. But anyway, we'll put a number of links in here. This is the World Peace Treaty. You should be able to find it on any search engine. Again, finding peace within yourself. This is the bigger struggle, and then bringing peace around you in a way, and maybe not so much through the physicality, but just by the fields you're emitting as you become more peaceful. Anyone would like to read the World Peace Treaty? You don't have to be an angel to read it or to move in this direction. Okay. We, as citizens of the earth from this moment on, except to lay down all tools of aggression and war. We shall never think about getting involved or incite war or develop or use any tools of war on this planet or in space. And to this we all agree and swear with our, and you can delete as appropriate, our nation, our territory, our council, our religion, our city, our town, our body, and our soul. So you can stand in the balance in a way for others until they understand more in the future. Simply put your name, signature, date, position on behalf of, again, the nation, the territory, the council, the religion, the city, the town, or as an individual. Have it witnessed, and after signing this treaty, be proud to display this certificate wherever you consider being important to you, that everyone can see and know your ethos to fellow men and the mankind and other created beauties of the Creator. And of course, this is the Keshe Foundation. We're introducing a new science, a new ethos. This is part of the new ethos. And of course, a new language of love and giving. And as Mr. Keshe indicated in the last workshop, the 649, that Mitra will be the one to sort of smooth everything out. And again, maybe it's not an actual entity, but it's an emotion or a behavior. And apparently we're going to fall in love with this. So we're all going to become peaceful over time. Perhaps we're changing into those sort of plants who live quite peacefully, but yet they still get to interact in their environment, observe their environment, and so on, but without as much killing as man, let's say, even though some plants are still sort of involved in that. So the plants have a lot to teach us as far as this energy dimension. And this is part of it, as well as the universal community, as well as all of the knowledge. I think it's going to take more than all of us on this planet to open it all up. And as we just pointed out, this is not a day job. This is not a week job. Mr. Keshe has been walking on this planet for thousands of years, studying the man to find the best way to sort of deliver it. And he's concluded that this knowledge has never been shared so beautifully, so balanced, perhaps anywhere in the universe. So we're being brought up to speed, as they say, in a very deep way. And most of it's happening through the energy dimension. And that's what will happen, I think, in this apps that are being created in other ways, where you just think you're hungry and you're fed. That's probably down the line, as he said, without even paying, without even being a member of the foundation. So we're very privileged and humbled to be here to bring a new science, a new ethos, and a new language to humanity. And of course, as he said, if you want your praise here in the matter state, that's where it'll begin and end. But we just stay on the silent line of communication, and you may be thanked as you travel across the universe that of the sacrifices that you've made to help deliver this, whether it was through an ONN or playing the game or buying products through the store or taking abuse from family members that think this is just preposterous, that you could be thinking in a line that's sort of esoteric or hidden. But as Mr. Keshe said, we can control the breathing, and many masters in the East have learned to control the transmutation, which we're already doing. He's talking about controlling it. But they were so selfish that they didn't share it or didn't teach the man. And now, so this is not a new knowledge. This is something that's just being opened up for all of us to enjoy the energy dimension. And of course, that's where the creator lives. And just we call it traveling now instead of the dream. Anyone want to add anything of what I said? Are you finding more about your own creation? And apparently there are ways to trigger this magrav that you're existing in a way. As he said, that breathing creates a rhythm, and just like different rhythms in music, you respond differently or you dance differently. And that was part of it. And this, of course, we celebrated the life, and we continue to celebrate the life of Fabio. He was taken out very untimely in a assassination that was meant for Mr. Keshe. And again, we'll just play that. Maybe we can give a bit to the soul of Fabio and the soul of Naomi, as Naomi survived, but still has a long way to go to fully recover. Any comments? All right, let's just play this. Every time you think of a person, like Mr. Keshe was saying about Christ, think how much he's collecting. Every time someone says the name or praise and so on, and if you got a penny for every time, he's gathering fields as well. So let's add to Fabio by sharing energy with him. I remember making a video a few years ago. We were celebrating the life, and again, we call it death, but if we understand deeper, this is the birth of a new life in the universe, even though we're saddened by it, and it seemed to be quite untimely and so on. And the pictures are beautiful, and you can see the beautiful soul, although they were kind of cheeky and a bit mischievous. As he said, when Naomi came into the picture, it got even more fun. But these were the greeters in a way, and working closely with Mr. Keshe, and ended up taking, as Mosfek actually took a poison in the place of Mr. Keshe somehow. And Mosfek is here with us, and he's survived that whole ordeal, but Mr. Keshe had just mentioned that recently. So let's bring up Fabio's video. I'm just going to bring this down. And again, we're just sort of playing by ear here. This is, we're as fluid as the wind. So do you have any suggestions or something you'd like to say about this? I think we're at 12:20 maybe. We can just see. One of the early knowledge seekers, and as Mr. Keshe concluded, hopefully there's not more scientists. And there's so many scientists and their assistants who have disappeared from China to America and across the world of science. But we'll open these books up, I think, again, perhaps in the future. So let's just, perhaps we'll start here. And we'll just give to the soul of Fabio and Naomi. And again, learning this giving process, but just to see, so young and so vibrant and so full of life, but again, the soul made a decision and even was asked if it'd like to come back, I think, by Mr. Keshe, and Fabio said no. As he said, if I told you how beautiful it was, on the other side, you may kill yourself to get there. But then if you do that, you're a wrong creation. You haven't learned to give. But apparently, they can interfere with any sort of condition, if I'm understanding what I've heard correctly, which again is a big question. We all interpret this knowledge according to our own understanding. You understand according to your own understanding. And even though we try to convince others this is how it is, sometimes we can't see it in the same way because we're all growing in and understanding this knowledge at different strengths and different speeds, but we're all getting there and hopefully moving in the direction of the creator. So let's look at this beautiful, I think it's about 10 minutes. Any comments? Okay, any words anyone would like to say? I think we'll hear from Mr. Keshe next. Thank you, Fabio and Naomi, for your time, help, and service to the community. How you touched, Mr. Keshe. Any comments? Of course, the murder is still being investigated. Let's continue. Anything anyone would like to say? I thought that was the end of the video, but again, I mean, they look so young, like not even, I think he was 22 when he met his demise in a way. But they just look so young, vibrant. As Mr. Keshe said in the last workshop, listen to Fabio and you become fabulous. Thank you again, Fabio. Any comments from anyone before we hear Mr. Keshe's comments of how these two young people touched him so deeply? And of course, that was the end of the foundation's journey in Italy. Mr. Keshe couldn't even work in the laboratory. There was such a hurt and whatever that they actually had to leave Italy at that point in time and close things down and head for greener pastures in a way. Okay, let's hear from Mr. Keshe on Fabio. And then we'll go to the announcements. Unless you have something else you'd like to bring or share. You can do that now. Or let's conclude with this.
Workshop here on Thursday, July 2nd, 2026. This is a broadcast of the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute Education Department and part of the public teachings in English. My name is Rick Cramen, and I'll be host once again in this weekly series of workshops. And once again, we have the honor of being joined with Mr. Mayran Keshe, who will be presenting today's program. So please go ahead, Mr. Keshe.
Thank you very much. Good morning, good day to you as usual, wherever and whenever you listen to this series of knowledge seekers from Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute. We welcome you back. The intro video is the traces of our memories from Fabio. This week is 10th year that he's not with us, and what you saw is him, the way we saw him, the way he was with us. Even he was with us for about a couple of years. His joyfulness, his happiness, every woman who fell in love with him. He was in love with life. And most of the pictures you see him with Naomi is the pictures we saw at work every day. I remember he joined us first in the teaching, and then Naomi joined us. And we gave a front office desk as you come in to Naomi, and he had a table on the other side of the room. Now, when I came back one day, the two tables were next to each other and the chairs were next to each other. And they were kissing each other. I said, this is how the Keshe Foundation should be. And that table and chair stayed in that position for the rest of the time they were with us. And as you all remember, he most probably is one of the most, what I call souls which affected the course of the Keshe Foundation. With his assassination, we left Italy because there was no room left to be in Italy. And as I always said with the police of Italy, this wasn't an accident. The too many things which even everybody agreed. You cannot fall out of the car some 10 meters away at high speed and have no bone broken. So the rest is in the hand of authorities, and the rest of it is still ongoing. After 10 years, it's not concluded. But in his memory of his joyfulness, we are calling one of the buildings in Space City in his name. And I'm sure many of you, when you visit the Space City, you remember him. His love, his joyful life. And he literally lived a true, what I call Keshe Foundation ethos. I have many, many memories with him. And his cheekiness, his naughtiness, and this was increased by 10 times, maybe more, when you put the other half to her, which was Naomi. And one of the things which I can never forget, and something will carry you for the rest of life, is my young son was always around the foundation. I asked Fabio and Naomi, can you teach him some Italian? You know, he goes to school, he needs to speak. He was getting educated privately at home, even though after 1 year he got higher mark in Italian literature than the Italian students in his class without even not attending the classroom. Then I saw, because we made the room for my son in the building that they could teach him, two of them. And I walked in one day and there was no world language going on. There was no Italian words going on. There was a lot of sign language. I said, what's going on here? He said, oh, if he doesn't learn the swear words the Italian way, he hasn't learned Italian. We are teaching him that. I said, I didn't ask you to teach him rude words. He said, this is how he learns Italian, Mr. Keshe. This is how we communicate. And I realized the life was more than words. I said, I don't know what to do with you three. I walked out. I said, just don't teach him too much bad words and too much bad signs. This is the way he is. He's still with us. And his assassination was the cause that Keshe Foundation moved out of Italy, altogether uprooted, because where we nested was somewhere it was too close to Belgium. In any case, we remember him for the good things and the joys and loves and the laughter he brought us. And as you saw in one of the pictures, he lies on the white sofa. That's actually a front desk office. Anybody walked in, they see him. He said, they come in here. This is a land of place of happiness and joy. And this is how it was. And we celebrate his life in Keshe Foundation. Going back to the teaching.
Okay, so as Mr. Keshe said, hopefully this is the last time someone in and around the Keshe Foundation has an untimely demise. But again, maybe, as he said, Fabio is still with us. And of course, he said this soul affected the Keshe Foundation perhaps more than any other soul. And I don't know exactly what's meant by that, but we continue to elevate the soul of Fabio and Naomi and thank again for the service, time, and help he provided to the community in his short stay with the foundation. Any comments? And that is still being investigated after 10 years. So there must be something. Let's go to the announcements. There is a second video which was brought up, but the gifts are just amazing. The coin, the research centers, the connecting and linking China with the manufacturing and Austria with some research. And then, of course, the associations which are being set up by knowledge seekers or will be linking to the Mark Ray Corporation. So again, linking to the game. It's all being set up in the background in a way. So we're just kind of observers, but yet we can support. They need millions of dollars in support, but it doesn't always have to be financially. Even playing the game, I believe, is a way of supporting or helping to perfect that whole thing. Of course, you can apply to be part of a research or maybe develop a product. We're going to be seeing more and more spin-offs coming out of the foundation and so on. But before we go to Mr. Keshe's overview, which is quite lengthy, I think this goes on for maybe 30 minutes. We'll see another video, but feel free to stop it. Randy has asked in the chat which eyes and how the cat eyes worked in 647. Which workshop was Mr. Keshe talking about the eyes? I think if we go back to, is it 648 or 647, we could put in pupil. I'm not sure. I think it was, let's just see. Here he's mentioned pupil twice, so I think we're in 648, which we'll find, or was I just in 648? There's so much to decipher here. Yeah, here we have 7 instances of the pupil in 648. And again, this is the pathway that the soul uses, this window, and one is for going in and one is for going out. Randy, what specifically? You said eyes and cat's
He
eye.
starts. I just checked the PDFs, and it's 647 and 648 that talks about the eyes.
Yeah.
It's both of them.
And there's much, much more to teach. He said he's just in the beginning of this. He's going to continue to add more about linking the lymph and the eyes and the breathing and the heart, apparently. So there's much more to teach. But how about if we go to the Ed's latest creation was this handoff. And this was, again, an AI creation from the last Knowledge Seekers workshop. I'm just looking for that in my tray, but I think it's here. Let's see if we can do that. Call it the handover shake. And this is more about understanding, again, we're carrying the full knowledge of creation within ourselves, and we're doing quite a bit of transmutation already, but he's talking about controlling the transmutation. As we know, we're absorbing about 80% of the energy we need without eating. It's only we're 20% short, so that is a huge transmutation of fields into energy that supports the body. And then, of course, we travel when we dream. We're not calling it a dream, we're calling it traveling in a energy dimension. It's still you as you or me as me, but in the energy dimension. So we're learning quite a bit and more details about this, but we need to somehow link this heart with the lungs, with the eyes, and with the lymph, and maybe they're going to add something more. This was about the yawn. And apparently that yawn has never been fully explained by science, but this is something where the soul can even take a excursion into the universe just with that little bit of energy you inhale that gives enough for the soul to perhaps do a quick meeting and back again, or open that window that never closes in a way. You don't need to open it. It's always open, that little pupil. So let's hear this idea of the handover and the yawning, and of course the yawn about being social, and then breathing, this biological reactor, and of course the anatomy of creation. And Ed's put it all together, and the AI has supported it. And Claudia, aren't you working on some sort of videos in a way? Gail, I was thinking perhaps you can team up with Claudia. I think Ed is giving her a bit of an overview or an understanding, or he's doing part and she's doing part. Gail wants to understand more about the AI, but to me, it's not all it's, in certain applications, it's not all it's cracked up to be, apparently. They've had a number of issues, and I think a lot of those issues are probably covered. Nobody wants to let others know they're selling bad fish, perhaps. But what we've seen in the Ford Motor Company and other places, Pizza Hut and others, have not had such a great experience. But this is a beautiful 10-minute overview of about an hour workshop. And as we know, these will be opened up for much, much in the future, more and more, for hundreds, if not thousands of years. Some of these teachings will be opened to humanity. So thank you, Ed, again, for this beautiful creation. And again, it's interesting. We always wanted a lab or a professional lab and so on, but now we're finding out the laboratory is actually you. You are that MagRev, and we're just learning how to control some of its functions that it may be doing unconsciously, but now we can direct it to travel and interact with the universal community in a much deeper way, opening you up to the, again, he said we had it backwards. It's not the UFOs and the rockets going out into the energy dimension. It's you're inviting that energy, the soul of the universe, basically into you. And we understand man exists and operates in the universe, and the universe exists and operates in the man. What we see in the depths of the universe, we see in the depths of the soul of the man. But yet, that soul has kind of been hidden from us. And this is where we're opening up this knowledge to mankind. So beautifully, so balanced that never before has happened in the universe.
Hello everyone and welcome to today's Explainer. We're diving right into the wonderfully esoteric and intriguing teachings of KSW 649. Now, if you're familiar with this material, you know it presents a truly unique philosophical framework, one that seamlessly blends human biology with the vast hidden mechanics of the cosmos. Our goal today is to impartially map out these inspiring concepts. We're going to look at how this specific philosophy interprets some of the most basic, everyday functions of the human body, but through a deeply cosmic lens. Okay, so here's our logical progression for today. We'll start with number 1, the handover shake, and then move into the social cosmic yawn. From there, we'll hit the biological breath blueprint, the anatomy of creation, and finally, becoming man of the universe. We're basically taking a highly relatable physical action that we all do every single day, and following it all the way up to a fascinating framework of universal transmutation. Let's get right into it with Section 1, the handover shake and the true meaning of yawning. We're starting with a universal experience that has honestly baffled humanity and researchers for centuries. It's such a simple question, right? Why is yawning catching? You know the feeling? You see someone yawn across the room and suddenly you feel this overwhelming urge to do exactly the same thing. Mainstream science is kind of bent over backwards trying to fully explain this, but KSW 649 offers a wonderfully different perspective. It opens up what it actually calls a book of knowledge about the soul. But before we can really answer that yawning question, we need to establish a foundational concept in this teaching: the soul of the man, or the STM. In this framework, the STM is the energetic counterpart to our physical body, which the text simply calls the physicality. You can think of the STM as the entity that steps in and takes control when our physical body desperately needs a timeout or a rest. It's almost like two roommates sharing a space, taking turns at the wheel. So, according to the source text, a yawn isn't just a sign of fatigue. It's described as a subconscious signal. It's literally the handover shake from the physicality to the soul. Think about what happens when you yawn. Your body takes in a huge gulp of air. The text explains that this provides the free energy required to synchronize the body's lymph systems, which essentially allows the soul to step up and say, "Okay, time out. I have a job to do now." Which brings us perfectly into Section 2, the social cosmic yawn. Let's look at how this builds into the social dynamics of yawning and why we catch it from others. The manuscript explains that a contagious yawn is actually a soul-to-soul message. When you're in a shared energy balance with someone, say you're hanging out in the same room, eating the same food, or just sharing the same atmosphere, your souls are operating on the exact same frequency or magnetic bandwidth. When one person's soul initiates that handover shake to go rest, that specific frequency touches your soul. In this view, your physical body is just acting as a shell for these energetic interactions. And interestingly, the text notes that if you try to fight the yawn, the soul can complete its energetic trip anyway, in mere nanoseconds. There's this brilliantly theatrical metaphor used throughout KSW 649 to describe this. When those bandwidths align, one soul essentially says to the other, "He goes to sleep, I'm going as well." The souls are depicted as friends heading to a cosmic party, going out dancing with the universe, while the physical body is left completely unaware. So fighting a yawn, according to this philosophy, is really just you delaying your soul from keeping its cosmic appointments. Let's transition to Section 3, the biological breath blueprint. We're going to examine how the very mechanics of our breath map directly onto these esoteric concepts. The crucial takeaway here is the deep functional difference between breathing in and breathing out. The text splits the breath into two entirely distinct dimensions of operation. The inhale is what the physical body practically requires just to work, but the exhale, that's an extension for the lymph system. It operates specifically to release energies that are just no longer needed by the physical dimension of the soul. And KSW 649 gives us a very specific metric to measure this, which we can informally call the 5-second rule. The next time you yawn, the text suggests actually paying attention to your intake versus your outblow. If your inhale and exhale are roughly equal, like 5 seconds in and 5 seconds out, you're balanced. If your exhale is much longer, say 6 or 7 seconds out, you're considered highly healthy because your lymph system has ample time to release energy. But if your exhale is shorter than your inhale, the philosophy views this as a direct sign of a biological struggle happening within the physical body. This all leads to a truly fascinating claim about the ultimate exhale. At the point of death, the body does not take an inhale. Instead, the final act is an exhale. According to the text, it's not the stopping of blood circulation that releases the soul from the physicality, but rather this final switch of energy in the lungs. The soul doesn't pull energy from the blood, but directly from the flow in the nostrils and the throat. All right, moving to Section 4, the anatomy of creation. Let's shift our focus away from the rhythm of the breath and look at the physical layout of the human organs themselves. KSW 649 proposes this wonderful perspective where human anatomy is seen as a direct mirror of cosmic creation. It outlines a structural correspondence between our upper and lower systems. So, just as the soul of the man sits protected up within the brain, the heart, which the text calls the soul of physicality, sits protected within the lungs. Furthermore, the philosophy argues that the precise spatial ratio between these specific organs is exactly what determines our physical characteristics and even our day-to-day behaviors. It zeroes in on 4 main components: the brain, the lung, the heart, and the thyroid gland, which acts as a sort of translator between them all. According to the manuscript, if science can eventually learn to properly measure the ratio and spatial inertia between these 4 organs, mankind will actually be able to determine the exact time of the soul's separation from the physicality, meaning the precise time of death. And that brings us to our final part, Section 5, Becoming Man of the Universe. Let's look at how all of these concepts, the yawning, the breathing, the anatomy, culminate in the ultimate cosmic goal of this teaching. The text actually outlines specific steps for achieving what it calls transmutation, which is moving beyond our physical shell. Step 1 is actively changing the rhythm and method of your breathing. For example, inhaling through the nose and exhaling through the mouth creates a different plasma and field strength than doing it the other way around. Step 2 involves training your body to release the magnetic grip and pressure that our blood vessels hold over the soul of the man. The teaching suggests that once you release this grip and master those sensory transitions, a person can achieve transmutation completely effortlessly, as the text puts it, with a fling of a finger. Which leads us to a really inspiring conclusion regarding space exploration. The text firmly argues that escaping Earth and exploring the cosmos absolutely does not require UFOs or rockets. Those are just physical tools. True cosmic travel, it says, is achieved through the soul of the man via the dimension of invitation. You don't become a man of the universe by shooting yourself out into the void. You do it by calling upon the soul of the universe to enter your dimension. So, we'll wrap up today's explainer with this wonderfully provocative thought. The teachings of KSW 649 reframe literally everything, from our tired evening yawns to the way we dream about reaching the stars. It leaves us with a fascinating question to chew on regarding the future of human exploration. Are we going to rely on the physical brute force of rockets, or will we learn the rhythm of our own breath, master that handover shake, and simply invite the universe in? It is definitely an inspiring concept to reflect on. Thank you so much for joining me today to explore this truly intriguing material.
Okay, thank you, Ed, for another creation. We put the link in the chat. You can go to Ed's website. You can take this and use this. There's no conditions on it, apparently. It can be altered, changed, modified, whatever. There's no, what they call it about proprietary information or copyrighted information in these videos. Anyone can use it. And you'll find other knowledge seekers workshops that are done in the same sort of mini way. And it's very beautiful. Any comments from anyone? Yes, I did leave out the thyroid, linking the lymph and the breathing and the eyes and the brain and the thyroid. You've wanted a spaceship. You thought you wanted the UFO, but actually we've been walking around with the spaceship the whole time. It's just that we haven't understood it and haven't understood how to control the transmutation. But as he said, we'll teach you more, hopefully, this coming week. If we go back to around 54 minutes, and we heard this in the video, let's just see if we can hit this somewhere. Sure, let's see. Let's go around 53 minutes, and we'll just build up. But that whole rhythm of breathing is, in a way, like dancing. You certainly wouldn't slow dance to a fast rhythm of music and vice versa. So this breathing apparently creates a rhythm which triggers a preset system in a way to function. And of course, you have to do it individually. I'm not you in you. You have to learn how, and I have to learn how to trigger it. I'm not saying I'm there by any means. I'm just on the same path of enlightenment as the rest. So let's see if we can play this as we adjust our transcript. So the different breathing in and out of the nose, in and out of the mouth, in the mouth and out of the nose, in the nose, out of the mouth, creates all sorts of different plasmas and energies in different dimensions. And of course, what he concluded was many, many masters in the East, meaning in the Near East and Far East, like the Buddha, have learned to do this. Let's go to 54, if we can. And, oops, I passed it. Okay, I was hoping to hit somewhere around 53. Oh, am I on the wrong workshop? No wonder. Okay, let's go to 54 minutes. And he's saying he hopes you've understood the teaching of today. Controlling, you're becoming one step closer in controlling. This is the big word here. We're doing a lot of transmutations, deja vu, thinking about somebody calling you and they call you. So now we're learning how to getting a step closer in controlling your transmutation. So let's see if we can hit somewhere close on this. It'll probably start here.
Keep him more to the dimension of physicality, or am I going to go and let him free to enjoy me as me in the dimension of energy? I hope you open your eyes in the new dimension of life. And I hope you understand what it means in what you do, as you have to understand your I and your emotion of the yawning, because the I sees through as your soul does the soul of the other. And when the soul changes through the eye, so does follows the physicality of the separation of the time to the breathing of the man. When you look at someone, yawning, soul to soul message, so I do the same. Let's call it a day. I hope you learned something today, and if you know how to use it, you become one step closer in controlling your transmutation. As now you understand what I've been telling you in the past, by changing the rhythm of your breathing, you can control your transmutation. Now you understand how, and now you understand the way to do it. If you breathe through your nose, you achieve transmutation in different dimensions. If you breathe through your mouth, you achieve transmutation. If you breathe in through the nose and exhale through the mouth, you achieve different plasma field strength. If you breathe through your mouth and exhale through your nose, you achieve different position. And in the future, I teach you how you can change this, how you can balance for the position. Many, many masters in the East learned this, but they were so, what I call selfish, that never taught the man.
Okay, so this really isn't anything new. Many, many masters in the East learned this, but they were so what I call selfish, they never taught the man. Maybe some of them didn't know how to teach the others. I think that was what Mr. Keshe referenced about the Buddha. He could actually move his physicality from one side of the lake to the other in front of people, but he didn't actually know how to teach it. But many masters apparently have learned this technique, but yet, again, they wanted to be perhaps greed for elevation or power or respect that they never fully taught the others. So this is what's being opened up here, something that's occurring daily on this planet. Just like the levitation and other things, people can levitate. We just think it's beyond our understanding. Is this how Christ walked on the water? Did he levitate? And it's quite easy to do once you understand it, apparently. And I don't understand it, but we're working in that way. Anyone want to add anything before we go to the announcements? So it's all being planned and prepared for you. The buffet is being set and the fun has just begun, as I understand it. But we're going to have fun for the next 1,000 years on this planet. Of course, all of it may not be fun. There may be some bumps. And as he said, this technology will create other problems that we haven't even foreseen yet that need to be addressed. So just because you switch to the plasma technology doesn't mean everything goes into sync. Yes, MOSFET, please.
Yes, about the buffet. Yes, the buffet is being set, but only take what you need, not the whole buffet. Not every item is necessary. That's it. So,
I go to a buffet sometimes. I haven't been there in a year or more, but some people pile as much as they can on their plate, and the food is falling off the plate as they walk back to their table.
So we have to avoid those kind of scenario.
Right. We take what we need, or you'll be given what you need, but not more than you need. Is this part of the ethos we're growing into?
Yeah. So this is something that we have to get adjusted to, because we come from a mentality of scarcity.
Yes.
And we have to move to the mentality of plenty. And there we just use what we need, and the others use what they need. And there is always enough for everybody. And that's the buffet that you're talking about.
And would this affect the emotion of, how would it affect the emotion of greed?
Well, you start to get, let's say, weaned off from greed.
Well, how can I
By
do
this
that
process.
when I want more?
Yeah, so no, but you don't get the result when you want more. You get the result when you get enough. And as they say, enough is enough. So
Is more?
more is not enough. Enough is enough.
Right.
So we just have to get used to this idea. But we come from the mentality of scarcity. We will be short of or whatever.
And
But that's
why this is so shocking, because we always had to work so hard and scramble and fight and kill others perhaps to get what we needed. And now we're being gifted everything in a way, and I can't really accept that because it's been inculcated in me. I have to work for it. I have to get it. But it seems like everything is being provided as the universe has unlimited resources.
Yeah, gifted is the term that used gifted is an intermediary step in the sense that once we get used to the idea that there is plenty, then we go beyond the gift and there we live in harmony with the infinite energy source or the creator. So there we don't have this mentality of, we get a gift or we are short of something. It's gifting is a kind of like a transition state to get to the point where there is no gift is necessary. You are there. You are part of the creation and you are a creator. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like that level.
Okay, let's. Anyone else want to add anything else?
Well, I've never seen any birds complain there's not enough seeds. I've never seen them protesting. So they already know they're being provided for. It's just the humans have to catch up.
Thank you, Randy. Yeah, in the matter state, there are scarce resources. Of course, we're going to make that obsolete in the future. There'll be enough for everyone, as Mosfeq said, but not more than you need. This is this greed that sort of has to be balanced out. And I think this is coming more and more in the foundation. Maybe we can go. Anyone else have a comment before we go to the overview and the announcements? Again, they're quite lengthy. That'll take us right up to the 9 p.m. CET time for the creation of the Dome of Peace. But again, it's just packed with so much knowledge. And of course, we still need help at the foundation. Mr. Keshe is looking for specialists and experts. We'll hear that, I believe, a bit in the announcements. So let's go to 103, and we'll keep the transcript up. Thanks again for the beautiful transcript that is being created every week for all of us to kind of, sometimes we hear it on the video, but it's very accurate in the transcript. Not 100%, but as close as we've ever seen in the Keshe Foundation of the accuracy and the turnaround from a workshop into a transcript. So that's been a beautiful process. It's ongoing and we continue to use it. And of course, the Brazilians have an immense website with many things on it. We'll show that during the Dome of Peace you can connect with. So let's start with the announcements, as Mr. Keshe usually does. And of course, it was nice to hear one of the things being developed, I think, is this battery. I guess they're working on it now in China, that it'll never need charging. You'll never need to plug it in. You can even gift it to your grandchildren. So these are some of the, again, amazing things. And they could have been there. I'm sure they've been there within the Keshe Foundation. We did see the demonstration of the self-charging flashlight, but maybe other technologies or other companies have an aspect of it, but it was never allowed to come into the public. And as you can see all these things in the Keshe patent, As he said, even structures of homes and other things will, for just a penny, perhaps will come in the next period of time. Again, sometimes we are a little bit slow on delivering because everything has to be in place, but we certainly can look forward to it. And for me, I believe before I see, and the ones that don't believe will make you to see, and then you'll believe. So this is all what's coming, and we're all privileged, as I said, and proud to be here and humbled to be here in the Keshe Foundation to work with Mr. Keshe in whatever small or large way you can. It's all contributing to the totality of bringing man into the universe or bringing the universe more into the man. Even though it's there, we just need to trigger it. So let's start with these. We're pretty close.
July 2nd, 2026. And as promised, we will have an opportunity for questions. But first, Mr. Keshe always has a few things he would like to say. So please go ahead, Mr. Keshe.
Thank you very much. Rick, check your line. I sent you something else which you can play. As you're aware, the first batches of ONN are already on the move, and soon we'll be with you a lot. And the second batch will be out sometime next week. Now it's become truly a coin operation. The system that what we call will start bringing the changes in.
Okay, most of us already know what the ONN is, and this is called the One Nation Network, which is being set up. And here it is right here, so you can read more about it. And this is part of the structure. Mr. Keshe is linking to the game and to the research and to the marketplace and many other things. You can actually support by purchasing a unit. I still think you'll get 2 Keshe coins per year. But I'm not sure about that just by owning a unit. It's really a gift to humanity. You're not owning it. You're gifting it in a way to humanity, even though it may be in your own location. So this is the One Nation Network, which Mr. Keshe gave last Christmas, I believe. He said, this is the biggest gift I could give to humanity. He said, you wanted peace. Peace is now on the table. But of course, it's part of a much bigger process. And it's just getting started and testing how some of these things, the gift of the coins, the exchange within the game and the marketplace will all work together. But this is the biggest gift the foundation could give to humanity because it has such far-reaching implications into the future and across the universe as I understand it. Any comments from anyone?
There are a few misunderstandings in the Keshe Foundation, what we call knowledge seekers, that has to be cleared legally and correctly. The Keshe Foundation coin is valued at €1,000 and is only exchangeable with the Keshe Foundation products. You can purchase them as a donation and then buy what you like with it within the framework of the Keshe Foundation products. At the moment is what is in Keshe Foundation website.
And of course, what we just showed was the website, which probably has 150 unique products within that website, which should grow to 5 and 6 digits in the future. And not only that, there's an app that's being developed or has been developed or being perfected that you'll be able to use that app again in conjunction with probably with the energy dimension. But if you want a physical product, you can order it through the store using the Keshe coins. This is all internal to the Keshe Foundation at this point. It is not a cryptocurrency, and we're not saying it's a cryptocurrency, but down the road, it will probably subsume all other cryptocurrencies, as this is one of the only or the only currency backed by gold.
Those of you who are Chinese, you can purchase it for the products, agricultural products, and the rest which is in China. And any materials we produce. Many of you bought coins and you converted it to guns, balls, what we call cosmic ray balls. And what you do with it is yours, it's not ours. We do the same thing with those who are some of the people who buy cash coins and then in the future they buy products and give it to their friends and family as a gift or they keep. So be very clear that a cash coin at this moment of time is not exchangeable for currency. We are not a cryptocurrency game. We are a coin within the structure of the Keshe Foundation and not outside. And this is why we can keep our value at equivalent to 1,000 euro and not get involved with anything else. What do you do, who you give, what you do with your coin as a gift, as whatever, it's your job. What you get for it is your concern, not ours. And we are very clear about this as the cash coins are now actually on circulation. The first batches of the coins has allocated, has left and is not in the bank, the vault of the Keshe Foundation as such, but now is in the hand and is gradually getting divided amongst the people. Some of you we trust closely will be given the opportunity to receive the first batch of 30 coins as you are over 30 years old, 20 years old, and your annual, what we call share, is 30 coins if you call upon it. Or you
Okay, let's see if we can just put one of the videos of the coin. Of course, we saw that. Let's just see if I can find that. We'll just put that link in there so you can see. Again, this video of the original Keshe coin has been around for quite some time, and now we've sort of seen. I'm just going to go to YouTube, and you can find the Keshe coin there. Let's just make sure there's. So this is one of the videos. Again, this is in a different language, I guess, but I think it can be translated into English. So we're going to put this link, and it's in a number of different languages. I just happen to pick up not an English one. Let's put this into the chat so others can see the concept of the Keshe coin. And of course, there's a bank already set up, a virtual bank. And again, this is kind of a coin, virtual coin. I don't think you'll actually get a physical coin. Maybe in the future they'll mine some sort of coins. All right, let's go back to our, now that link is in the chat. Let's go back to our workshop.
can keep it till one day you call upon it. But again, that day you still get 30 coins. It doesn't become, I didn't use it for 10 years, I should get 300. So in the next few days and weeks, some of you, which we contact personally, will receive batches of your first 30 coins. Please look after it, because when you lose it, you can't reach it. There's a process as part of the structure that you have to learn. You keep it in your wallet and you keep it safe. And if it gets stolen, let us know, because nobody can steal more than 30 coins from you. We replace it, because we try to find out how it's been, where it's been, and what happened to it.
So there is a process coming up where you can actually put your coins in a game called Peace and Enlightenment, and you'll be asked to re-register at cashfoundation.at, receive a special code, enter the code into the game, and I believe the Keshe coins will be granted to you. Again, I don't know if it'll be 30 coins in the beginning, but this is just part of the test. He said maintain the trust within the Keshe Foundation. If you do receive coins as a test, or you receive an ONN, and not to share it, even with that knowledge, even with other knowledge seekers. He said this is a trust between you and the Keshe Foundation. So you don't particularly need a wallet as I see it at this time, but of course there is a wallet offered in the store, and this is the Keshe Coin ID wallet. So it's already been developed, and this is probably where you'll take the Keshe Coin out of the game. Again, I'm not a specialist in crypto. I have no crypto. I have no interest really in it. I always thought they were kind of backed by air and how they fluctuate and so on. But this coin is not subject to that. So if the coin is lost or stolen, it will be replaced, but try to protect it because that may be a bit of a longer process. But it'll be tracked. They'll see where it's been hacked and so on. But this is an additional item. As we get more coins, you'll need to get a wallet to store your coin. Anyone have the idea? Why can't we just use it in the game? Why do we need a external wallet? Is that to take it to other merchants or other people selling things? That may come down the road. So just to show you, let's go back to our.
So,
any comments? Okay. I know it's just amazing to receive every child receiving. I think this is the best offer on the internet. You put up $1 for joining or €1 joining the Keshe Association, and the Keshe Foundation puts up 1,000 Keshe coins valued at 1,000, internal, of course, to the Keshe Foundation. But as he said, this coin is worth millions, because once we start to use it, we'll find out a quarter of a penny per year per education. That coin will last quite a long time, or perhaps a half a penny for an apple. So this is how far this will go, as opposed to having to earn money and pay for an education that we see costs tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt for people to get a degree or an education. This is a totally different process and much less expensive.
if you lose your Keshe Coin wallet, never cry. You haven't lost a thing. You sit with a solid structure of the Keshe Foundation. And this is what makes secure for us to operate. If you looked at the end picture in the video, it tells you from 0 to 10, your mother, your parents, your guardian receives 10 coins in your name, which is you can exchange it. They can exchange it within the Keshe Foundation structure to evaluation of what it be 10,000 euro. You will understand even this 10,000 worth millions. Very shortly, you will understand more and more. When you're between 10 and 20, the allocation is 20 coins per year, which is 20,000. When you pass 20 and above, you get 30 coins. So if you calculate from the point of birth, from let's say next week when the first children get their coins, or next month, he uses 100 coins for the first 10 years. He uses 200 coins for the next 10 years. That's 300 coins. It leaves you with 700 coins, which is 20 years, 25 years of guaranteed life. But from what we know, what we understand is very soon, the way the structure of the development is going, you can have an apple for 1 cent through the cosmic ray technology. You can have a chilo kebab for 1 cent, again through the same technology. You receive your education in the dimension of the plasma technology, maybe for half a cent or 0.1 cent or 1 cent a year. You understand, many of you will not even use even 1 coin a year.
So tremendous peace of mind. Again, it sounds an impossibility. And then you say, well, how can I get an apple for 1 penny? I'll take that. But you, in the cosmic ray technology, you don't actually get the apple. You get the emotion and the energy of the apple. And I believe you'll be satisfied. We've tested some of these things in some of the monthly testings of keeping the Keshe Foundation free for humanity. And as he said, some of us have felt the plasma water in our mouth and have been fed. Others have reported the same. So, and this was probably 3 years ago. So the development and the connection is even stronger today. Of course, they didn't report back, but this is part of keeping, and maybe we should play that video later, keeping the Keshe Foundation free for humanity. If we go back to the store, I'll just slide this over again, and then we'll take our wallet back, all products. This website is soon to be appearing, I believe, on Shopify, but that is to come in the future. And I don't know, maybe they haven't put, but there's transmutation sessions usually offered in here. I don't know if any are scheduled at this point in time. They're making some other arrangements or perfecting some sort of systems, but you can participate in monthly sessions of the Keshe Foundation. And again, a mother may need pillows and other things for their newborn child. So this is where we'll perhaps see the store grow into a lot of other items within this store that they won't be able to use the coin initially at the local store, but maybe some of the same items can be offered within the Keshe Foundation. We'll have to see how that is progressing. But it should meet all the needs, and especially the educational needs. Again, in the dimension of energy education for, what did he say, a ½ cent a year? That's a pretty cheap education, but a very deep one as it becomes embedded within the understanding of the soul of the man and into the physicality. Okay, so we couldn't find the transmutation testing, which is usually in here, but I think they're revitalizing something there. Okay, let's go back to our transcript and the news and announcements from Mr. Keshe. Any comments from anyone? Are you flabbergasted yet, or do you think this is something that can't be delivered? Again, over a 1,000-year period, he said in the last workshop. So it's not something that'll be perfected overnight. But it's a work in progress. And we'll start to see some of it coming right into the public through these apps and so on.
And the guarantee of this is that it does not matter if you are in China, you're in London, you're in Tehran, you're in Africa, your coin are all valued the same. No speculation. Nobody says, oh, the price is going to 10,000. No, the price is now 6,000. I lost my livelihood. For the first time, we bring security. For the first time, we bring peace of mind. For the first time, we look after you from birth to death the way the Creator has done. It's not anymore a dream. Systems are out, coins are out, and now is how we process it. These coins have been offered to the Iranian government for every Iranian national. 1,000 coin allocation. And the Iranian government have been told they allocated 100 coins per citizen to the government. They can call upon 10 coins a year for 10 years. Yesterday I had a meeting with the Palestinians. The Palestinian nation, through the suffering and where they stand, initially are offered double the allocation of what we call the coins, as they have to reset their lives across the wherever they go, and life has to be meaningful. We take all the coins away from the nation of Israel, citizens born, anyone with a structured connection to Israel. The same is applied to the state of Belgium. And these are given to support Palestinians and those who become homeless through the acts of the aggression by every other nation. They've stolen enough from physicality in the soul of the man. Yesterday I sat, and the day before, listened to a Palestinian with a handicapped child of 6, had to hand ties in his back with other Palestinians, watching a mother and a daughter being raped by the Israeli soldiers in front of them where the father died. He said he watched rape every day. I have asked him to record the events of him being in a Palestinian camp in past 2 years, and now he's free in the West. Names and everything else, no accusation. He has lost 42 members of his family by rape, killing, and bombing. We are not taking side. We are explaining the ruthlessness of mankind, and we don't want this to go into the what we call the universal community. When Israeli soldiers rapes a mother and a daughter in front of the father, that the father dies of heart attack, it means there is no human. Animals don't behave this way, and there is no room for animals in the structure of the Keshe Foundation. It's so the same thing with Fabio. So it's very easy. The process started, and everything is on the move. The units have left the Keshe Foundation, and through the way they are going, the first batch is with you, trusted knowledge seekers who become the frontier independent of this, what we call the top structure. The coins have already been allocated to the keys, and everything is on the move. We have enough to support humanity for 100 years. Governments can build universities, government can build structures to support the nation, and the Keshe Foundation will support it through the structure. Step by step, I will explain. Step by step, I'll explain how we support governments. One of the prime points, as you can see on the writing, every nation to be qualified to receive the 100 coins for their citizens, the signing of the World Peace Treaty. Never get involved. Iranian government has declared they have no problem signing with this document.
And of course, this is the document we read earlier. This is an integral part if you're going to work with the Keshe Foundation in a deeper way. And apparently some companies have worked with the Keshe Foundation, but because they have not signed the World Peace Treaty, the collaboration stopped or never went any further. So this is a key to moving deeper into the Keshe Foundation, is the signing of the World Peace Treaty, whether you're a government, a corporation, or as an individual. Again, it's not necessarily needed to be physically signed. If you're accepting this World Peace Treaty, you can sign it, as Alex likes to say, with the pen of your soul. But for other reasons, I do believe they'll ask for an endorsed copy of this or the original. So that's an integral part of the work of the Keshe Foundation for this collaboration. And this is what Mr. Keshe went to the world governments 26 years or more ago and said, I could show the people on this planet how to feed themselves and generate their own power in exchange for signing the peace treaty or pledging the nations to peace. And of course, that didn't work out at that point in time. But now, quarter of a century later, it's coming back around in a much stronger way. Again, the cat was just perhaps playing with the mouse for 25 years. One of my friends said his friend's cat was declawed, and I never liked that idea, but he said that the cat played with the mouse in the house for about a week, on and off, because the cat had no claws, so it just kept playing with the mouse. And maybe in a way, this is the Keshe Foundation playing with some of these governments and humanity. We're just sort of the test subject or the mouse, but we have to bring it as well. So at any time, the cat can make a decision to expire the mouse or end it. But again, we're not forcing anything except the enforcement of peace on this planet, as I see it. Any comments? Okay, let's go back to our transcript and our...
Don't forget, in 2008, Iranian parliament signed that the technology will not be used for offensive purposes. We'll get this ratified one by one once it's completed with every nation, every citizen on this planet. As you can see, the condition is the companies, the governments, the individuals have to sign to and adhere to the rules of the coin and its work through the Keshe Foundation Association in Austria.
Let me put that in the chat. We'll continue.
It's yours, and you have to understand how to use it, how to protect it, and how to push, after I'm gone, that the right of every man on this planet is protected. I set the structure. You are the guardians. No nationality, no color, no race will change any of it. Set up association in your countries on the same rules as the Keshe Foundation Association in Austria. And link your associations, register it with the Keshe Foundation Austria, that you become part of it, that it allows your people to use Keshe coins freely within the structure. When most of the citizens of your country are part of your association, and part of association is the Keshe Foundation Association in Austria, you are all linked to become one family.
So if you've been wondering what you can do for the Keshe Foundation, or you don't feel you're doing enough, you can start to investigate and set up a foundation within your country. So whether it's Germany or the United States or Canada or Brazil, each one will have its own association, and therefore people who are members will be part of the club and the exchange, and then that'll be melded all into one association down the road. But apparently, if there's no association, then you can't just join the Austrian association from, even though we have, but apparently there's more details. If you're probably going to do more things in your own country, you need a specific association. But we put in the chat, keshefoundation.at is the overall association, and then we're going to replicate that rules. It's like a club, and that'll be an exact copy, as he said, an exact duplicate of what was set up. And one of the knowledge seekers said they brought in an expert on associations, and he said this was the best association he had ever read through. I've never read through it. I don't know what all the rules, but again, hunting clubs, fishing clubs, other flying clubs, they're probably all registered as certain associations. And that's part of the process. I don't fully understand it, but there's a huge reason for it. Of course, you're not required to. It's totally up to you and how you understand it and how you see it. But if you want to receive your Keshe coins and be able to earn Keshe coins, I think this is all part of the peace treaty, being part of the association and further. There may even be more bits added to this if you want to go deeper. But right now, this is where it stands. Any comments from anyone? And again, he's calling the plays, not the knowledge seekers. So he's had the experience across the universe of doing this more than once, let's say, bringing other civilizations into that energy dimension or into the dimension of the universal community. So this is not a new game there. Mr. Keshe is very well seasoned for this work. That's why it's taken him thousands of years to, in a way, get to this point on this planet. Supreme patience, I would say.
It's your job, not ours, and your association has to be directly copy of the Keshe Foundation in Austria. No deviation. And plus what is getting set up as part of the structure of the connection of the industrial use by association or the structure set up in Switzerland. It's beautifully getting set up. Its way of voting and the thing is very close to the association of the Keshe Foundation in Austria within the Swiss law. And I hope the Swiss Keshe Foundation people can bring it completed very soon, that it becomes connected to the Keshe Foundation in Austria as an association, and at the same time gets connected financially, industrially to the Keshe Foundation in China with the Space City, which means we connect everything together, that there is no loophole for anyone to abuse. One side, you become part of the work of the Association of the Austria, which is based on the work of everyone having a say. On the other hand, you set up in a way of industrialization, financially benefits your citizens and the others through connection with the Keshe Foundation or work of the companies in China. We use it as a pivot point that we lock you on both ends. And this way, in the very near future, the Keshe Foundation, through its arm of financial arms of Market Corporation, will sign the same agreement with the Keshe Foundation Austria, which means we lock the three, the products, the financial market, and what we call the work of the Keshe Foundation coin, will lock into each other. It's a matter of a few weeks. As now we release the coin, we are ready to take the steps which has been set up for years.
Okay, we've entered the markraycorp.com into the chat. So if you want to look at how they're connecting or what they're connecting to, again, this is a space research and development company. I believe it has the code 9661, again, in the space field. And you can see the different aspects of the Markray Corporation. So that is in the chat for your review. So these are all the things that are going on in the background as a gift to humanity in so many ways. It's all being set up. At least, I mean, I'm not fully involved in setting up any of this. I don't know if any other knowledge seekers are and they'd like to share anything about it. But there's many people working night and day in the background to bring this about. And we elevate their souls in bringing it about and giving them the energies and the strength they need to complete.
Very soon, we release, once the Swiss structure is completed for the financial side, and once the completion of the association of the Austria is completed, we'll put it up. You follow the same, set up the same structures that nobody can touch, nobody can rule, nobody can decide for you, but the citizens of your nation. And we lock everything stage by stage to the companies in what we call manufacturing, supporting the technological side, to the operation of the foundation in what we call cash coin, and directly as Markray Corporation becomes registered with the what we call association in Austria, locked into the American stock market. The circle is complete. We are ready in the next few weeks to bring humanity to where no man needs to worry about where he's born and how he's born. I would like you to look at another video of the same range of the Keshe Foundation coin operation. Rick, do you have it ready to go?
Okay, any comments, or we'll go right into this? And this will be it. We'll go to the Dome of Peace next, and then Alex's presentation. Unfortunately, he's just here as Alex in the energy dimension today. And thank you, Alex, for being here.
Yes.
Please play.
Just a second here while I
We have about 30.
These are a series of the Keshe Foundation videos in combination and association with the Keshe coin. They are not exchangeable, they are valued and only applied within the Keshe Foundation. Can you go?
Okay, here we go.
And of course, if you have any better ideas or like to complement the work of the foundation, write info@keshe.foundation. Make any suggestions on this whole process or something you'd like, or if you're a specialist, an artisan, a computer control specialist, any doctors, all are welcome to write to info@keshe.foundation. Let's put this in the chat. We'll start the video. Any comments? Okay, here we go.
In a world of boundless potential, we have often forgotten our most precious resource. Mothers who dream of a better life for their children, yet face the harsh reality of lack and need. Food, medicine, clothing, and education, the basic pillars of human dignity, remain out of reach for so many. Humanity has forgotten the value of the child, but that is about to change. Introducing Keshe Coin, not just a currency, but a humanitarian digital infrastructure designed to restore dignity to every human being. It begins where life begins, with the recognition of every child's inherent value. The initial step. Upon birth registration, every child receives 1,000 Keshe coins, subject to conditions. With each coin valued at €1,000, the path to a dignified life is opened. Access to food, healthcare, and growth is guaranteed. This is powered by a secure global blockchain network, a digital foundation built for humanity. An infrastructure of validator nodes and transparent data, ensuring that resources reach those who need them most. From the shadows of poverty, we see the first light of transformation. Families gaining the security they deserve. Education becomes a right, not a privilege. Knowledge grows through humanity, opening doors to a new future. We are building a world where social well-being is the standard, where every home is safe and every clinic is functioning. This is the realistic future we achieve through knowledge, technology, and the unwavering pursuit of peace. A functioning global network of human value, connecting one planet, one nation, one race. The transformation is real. It is the recognition that our collective future depends on the value we place on each other. Keshe Coin restores the dignity that was lost, creating a legacy of opportunity for the generations to come. Peace is not just the absence of conflict. It is the presence of justice and value. One planet, one nation, one race. A singular vision for a unified humanity. As we find peace on Earth, we look toward the stars. Our potential is no longer bound by our struggle. Peace opens the path to the universe. Knowledge leads us into the infinite. Keshe Coin, because the value of humanity begins with the child, and our peace opens the path to the stars. Join us in building the future. Keshe Coin, one planet, one nation, one race.
And we're receiving all this without even understanding the fundamentals of the technology. I heard that mentioned earlier. We need to understand the fundamentals. Would you think that a child that needs to be fed is going to have to understand the fundamentals, or do we wait till the child gets to 3 or 4 and understands a little bit about the fundamentals before they can be fed? I don't think so. Or educated. I don't think so either, or even travel. This is the way I'm seeing it. Any other comments? So no woman in Africa has even heard of the Keshe Foundation per se. Nonetheless, understand the fundamentals of the technology. But they'll be able to use it, and it'll be made readily available for them to receive if they're so willing.
Thank you very much. This is the way the Keshe Foundation goes. It's taken years to work it. You've been with us for over 20 years, many of you, helping us step by step to reach to where we are and how we set it up. And we have a bigger goal. This is the beginning of bringing the humanity on equal basis. If we get resistance from governments and those who see their position in danger, there's always a way for us to operate. But once this is completed, Mitra will bring you in what we call on the horizon of joining the universal community. My job is to set the ground. It's Her Majesty's job to invite the United Nations of the universe to humanity to unite. And in so many ways, we have laid what are called the platform for a just humanity. Nobody needs to kill. Nobody needs to worry about what is the next step. Nobody needs to plan to kill man because there are too many on this planet. We can't feed them. As telephone lines and what we call gas power supplies and stations can feed the whole of the universe, let alone the man. These blood-sucking killing machines of those who now, because they have money, they think they can do it, the value of their, what we call feeble mind, is easier to progress than to fight. We progress and the fighting is for themselves to survive. Through the development of the technology, and especially now that the coins are released in what we call dispatch, outside the hand of those who could control it, as governments and Rothschilds and the rest, these people will not fight because you people will walk away from their need. In the next 2 or 3 years, we will show you how to build the most beautiful, luxurious buildings, your homes, at a cost of 1 cent, 1 app to download.
So if you've got a 30-year mortgage or you've taken a loan on a property in the next number of years, it may not be 3, it may be sooner, but it may be longer as well. This is what the future is. I know in one of the videos we had created before, he said people in the future, this is years ago, would give away their homes. I could never understand that. How could people give away their homes? Because the maintenance won't be there. Again, it's going to be created out of magnetic fields for just a penny. You collapse it and move somewhere else. Perhaps it'll even be a levitating home where you won't even affect anything walking or on the ground. Many things have already been pre-planned for humanity. It's just us picking it up and moving with it.
Energy of an apple and energy of a building for you to be in is no difference. And the way we do it, the value we do it, it's not worth for the Chinese to copy it. And the way it's done, it will be developed. Billions of dollars of gold in national reserves will worth nothing, as any of you can produce as much as you like. In a signed contract with one of the leading nations, they plan to build 400 system to produce 400 tons of gold through Keshe Foundation for their industrial need.
And again, I think some of this may be used, as he said, you cannot exchange the Keshe coin for your local currency, but he did indicate that you can exchange the Keshe coin and they will send you the equivalent value in gold. And then you would sell that to a local broker and you would receive your local currency. That's the way it may be done or was proposed to be done at this time until the coin is accepted more universally, let's say. Any comments on how to get local currency from your Keshe coin? This is what he had indicated a few workshops ago. This will be the procedure initially. So these 400 tons of gold, which is about maybe around 10% of China's yearly production, I think they do about 4,000 tons. This may be used in that exchange process, as I understand, in my own thoughts of why he would bring this whole idea of 400 different locations, each one making a ton of gold, because it may be getting recycled through the foundation in exchange if you need local currency. Because your landlord or your doctor may not at this time accept the Keshe coin, but certainly they would accept the local currency, which it would convert that coin into. We'll have to see how this works out, but that's the way I understand it. Anyone else? Until the coin is accepted in a wider fashion. So it's all well thought out, well planned. Again, this was written centuries ago, I'm sure, and we just think it's something new, maybe that was scratched on the back of an envelope in the last couple months. No.
This is a signed, sealed contract. You understand how the leading nations understand the Keshe Foundation technology. We haven't signed contract with individuals. We signed contract with military, heads of the militaries, with generals of a nation. And you knowledge seekers sat with us, going through line by line of it. Now you understand why the change will come. Now you understand what is about to come. And this juggernaut of freedom of man from the physical chain to this planet has started breaking up. 9 billion is not enough. Universe needs more beautiful souls. Not by killing them, but by nourishing them in the right way from the point of birth.
And of course, as was indicated in the past, we need about 75 billion on this planet to go into the universe. I'm not exactly sure, but they need more beautiful souls, apparently souls that can operate in the physicality and in the energy dimension as peaceful entities. So they're looking to bring more of this, again, having a physical eye and an eye of the soul. It's a unique entity in the universe. Some have managed to do this, exist and use both the physical eye and the energy eye, and man needs to be able to do this. Apparently, as a unique, as he said, the double hemisphere brain is not unique in the universe, but it's not a common occurrence as well. So, as I said, we've been considered insignificant dust, and now we're being considered perhaps more significant dust in the universe. Mankind, that is. Any comments? We do want to hear from you.
As you've seen in the video, no mother can worry about where the food will come from. Where am I going to make a shelter? What am I going to do for medicine? You knowledge seekers ate the orange, got flooded in your throat with water. You received technology and changed your illnesses and grew the tooth of a child hundreds of kilometers away from the center. In the coming time, you'll see the building of the shelter as is stated on our patent. You receive energies for transportation systems that you don't need anything, and it all cost €1.
Now, you say growing the tooth of a child hundreds of kilometers away. Maybe it's a good time for keeping the Keshe. This is what we're here doing. Keep Keshe Foundation free for humanity. Become a trial volunteer, or volunteer in any way you can in and around the Keshe Foundation at all. I think we're going to play this. Alex and Raphael over voice this in a way. And let's see how you can help keep the Keshe Foundation free for humanity. Let's make sure we're just sharing this. Yeah, okay. So it's a 7-minute video, and then we'll give the rest of the workshop for you to explore. And we'll go right to creating the Dome of Peace, and then Alex's presentation, which is about 45 minutes. I'm just going to lower this a little bit. So here's the idea of supporting in any way you can the Keshe Foundation, because it's keeping them free to develop for humanity. Here we go.
Keep Keshe Foundation free for humanity. Become a trial volunteer. And Mr. Keshe is making every effort to keep Keshe Foundation free and independent, and out of control of the multinational corporations. Therefore, we need more knowledge seekers with certain health conditions to come forward and be part of the trials and test. It's different than volunteering for big corporations with huge budgets. For one thing, they pay you to put experimental drugs inside your body.
So you'll see the reference to the growing of the teeth from kilometers away in this video. Here we go, it's coming up.
Because you are taking a risk. With plasma science, it is totally opposite. You are working with plasma fields that cannot damage you, and usually your condition changes or goes away. But you have to pay for it, because it's an act of love to help bring the change to humanity. Please, if you could consider volunteering for these trials, not only do you benefit, but you bring benefit to others.
This is the tooth of a child, and you can see it literally to the flesh. And this is very few weeks later. Where the tooth is literally recovering and growing. And when you see the changes are so fundamental. And this is what our doctors and dentists are achieving. This is a life of misery, pain, tooth extraction. And this is today, a few weeks later. And you walk away for all the problems. how far this will go? Will it become a complete tooth in the next 6 months, 12 months? And would we see the changes? Because if you're a dentist and if you're an ordinary man, you can understand the difference between the two. No chemicals, no medicine, nothing was used. The target of our dentists and doctors is to grow tooth where it has gone. It's been pulled out if it's possible. It's been the dream of the dentists. And using the new technology by them, I'm sure they will try. As you can see, the difference between the two is very clear. We see new bones, new structures, new covers appear. It's the same for us with the what we call the world of salinity. Can we create a condition? Would you like to change the screen, please? Right. Can we come to the point that with application of the remote, we can deliver directly, for example, to build a piece of wall of a heart of a baby the way we did with a tooth from thousands of kilometers away without open heart surgery? Can we rebuild part of a kidney which has been damaged in your dialysis machine? Can our doctors with a new technology remove kidney stone without any intervention? Do they need to change the salinity within a kidney for the stone to melt within a few sessions? And now you understand why we tell you, volunteer. Do you want me to go to multinationals and tie your hand with research? Or do you want to do it yourself and help the others and our doctors to understand? We are not in medical practices. We are in elevation of the soul, how the soul decides to change the what we call dimension within dimension of physicality. And secondly, all these trials is done by the doctors. We are providers of the knowledge. So, if you want to see if it works, if it can bring a new understanding for us, volunteer. And opposite to the other researchers or doctors and institutions where they go out and look for billions to pay scientists to find out, Keshe Foundation asks you to pay for, as volunteer, for us to learn, for scientists to bring the new dimension.
Okay, so you can see how it's all connected. Volunteering, and many of us have experienced what he's saying. And these pictures of the teeth and the work with the kidneys was probably done years and years ago remotely. So they must have been using the cosmic ray technology in a soft way, perhaps back then. Or maybe it's even more developed, but we're just seeing glimpses of it today until it's ready to be used in a bigger fashion. Any comments? So this is why we're here, to keep the Keshe Foundation free and to continue to elevate the soul of humanity and the soul of this planet and our souls as well. our central energies, if I could put it that way. Okay, I think we should go to the Dome of Peace now, because we still have another video to play after this. So we'll just bring this over. Any thoughts or comments from anyone? Are you not impressed? Anyone not impressed with what's happening?
Yeah, I was just wondering here, um, can they do also at the whatever the body of the, let's say, person has a fractured vertebrae or ribs or blood clots, all that stuff? Would that work the same way as the tooth, or does that matter?
I don't know how it actually works, but he did say in the future, again, this is probably part of this 1,000-year implementation of this whole thing, but he said in the future, like with sports games, if someone broke a finger or a wrist, they would bring them into the locker room and they would apply some technology, and that player may even return into the game before the end of the game.
I remember that.
Yep. Yep. And of course, they've discovered pictures of some of the times where they've grown tissue around bone, which we should see. I guess there's thousands and thousands of pictures of things done in the perhaps earlier 2000s, where there's a certain kind of condition where the flesh is rotted away or something from the bone, and they've actually grew the toe and other things. So this is all, again, coming out in the very near future over periods of time. Again, we have to be sort of prepped for this. For most people, this is just beyond even their imagination that things like this could be done. As I said, when I first heard you could feed yourself without eating, I said, this is impossible. There is no way I can think of how would you do it? What kind of magic is this? But now we understand more. We understand more how our structure is working and already doing that to a greater than a lesser extent, let's say, just in its default position. So now we can affect that. So again, I don't know how it works. Other people perhaps do, but I certainly don't. But it involves, probably some hidden technologies, understanding the cosmic ray and how to work with them and what conditions to create. Again, this is beyond my level of understanding. Mm-hmm. As he said, we show you what we do, but we don't tell you how we do it, probably until we mature more. And even with the Chinese, as I think, with this 400 tons of gold, each location making a ton, they're probably going to be sent in systems. They're not going to be given the secrets to the system, but they will be given the systems like the ONN system. You just plug it in and it goes to work, and they'll produce the gold.
Yeah, I just want to contribute one thing. I went through a session. Oh, well, we all went through a session about addiction, right? A while ago, or some of us. Mm-hmm. And I had a chocolate addiction. I mean, I was eating it in large quantities. I buy it by the pound. and when after the session, I wasn't expecting anything because I didn't really realize that how much of an addiction that was. It was just I like to eat chocolate. Trouble was, like, if we ever had some chocolate brought for the family, I would eat the majority of it without leaving anything for anybody else because I so much had to eat the chocolate. And then after that session, it was nothing spectacular. I didn't notice any spectacular, lights flashing or anything. But when I saw a piece of chocolate in front of me, I could take it or leave it. I'd just take one little piece if I wanted to and ate it or not. And that was the change that happened. To me, it was very dramatic because I know myself and how I was used to, like, I couldn't not eat the chocolate. So, but that's what it is now. I can eat it. I still enjoy it, but I don't have to. So that's what my experience was.
Beautiful. Less of a compulsion than it was before, even though you're still enjoying chocolate. You don't have to eat all of it.
But I don't eat it or buy it by the pound anymore. I could eat a pound easy in a week.
Right.
Easy.
And of
Or
course,
more.
yep. Go ahead, Ern.
Yeah, and now I haven't bought any. I
Yeah.
had a little bit left over, and I just occasionally had a little piece.
Somehow,
Just I enjoy it. Huh?
somehow your emotions were balanced in that regard.
But from one day to the next.
Possibly. Again,
Yes, definitely from one day to the next, but there was no dramatic experience when this change happened. So I have here someone who is went through the session about alcoholism, and I don't think he really got what happened because it was totally undramatic. But now he doesn't need it.
excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. And of course, the one thing we'll never get unaddicted to is fields. As I understand it, we'll always need fields, either to give or to receive.
Well, we're part of them,
So yeah, I'm
and
gonna
they're
go
us.
home because I gotta go to work in about a couple hours. Can I get you anything? Are you cold?
Mike,
We're coming over.
your
Gabrielle's gonna come over in a bit,
Okay.
and then maybe the cooks too. So yeah, can I get you anything, son? Do you want um?
your Mike Milan.
No, honey.
Thank you. Go ahead, Ern. Did you have more? Ike, did you have a comment you wanted to make? Somebody wanted to make a comment?
Just the craving.
Mm-hmm.
She satisfied that emotion. So I'm just curious to know what type of emotion now does she have when she sees chocolate?
Let's ask her.
Oh, I still feel happy looking at it. It doesn't matter. But the compulsion is gone. So that's great.
Now, do you have less? Was this an energy booster for you? Because normally that sugar.
Yes, it was an energy booster, and also the chewing of it and the swallowing of it and all that good stuff. That was part of it. The total consumption and the smell of it. Now I can just smell it, and I don't have to eat it because I just smelled it.
And they say that that taste of chocolate or that pleasure you get from the chocolate is very close to intimacy in a way.
It is probably, I don't know, but nothing changed in that regard.
No, I'm just saying. Yeah, we all have certain connections, even to jewelry. People that wear silver jewelry or something like this, apparently that can be even balanced out where they don't even wear the silver anymore, even if they've been wearing it for years. It's something that they were lacking, and that silver provided that for them. The silver jewelry, the ring, the earrings, whatever, brooch. And then once they've sort of balanced out with that silver, they don't even wear the silver anymore.
So the addiction session you went to, what was it? Did you experience any dramatic thing?
Say again? I didn't understand.
I didn't catch that either. Otherwise,
during the addiction session, did you experience some type of emotional change?
Not that, well, maybe. I don't remember. It was one of the group sessions, and that was a while ago, and I don't remember what I'd have to look up my notes and see what I wrote to Mr. Keshe.
So does the chocolate taste less sweet than it did before?
No, tastes the same.
Okay. And again, sometimes these sessions, things happen. We get small gifts. It's really to keep the Keshe Foundation free for development. But sometimes people that attend these things get little gifts given to them as some people have experienced. But the main idea is to keep the foundation free. And I think the upcoming sessions will be about testing that apple. And even though I'm sure they've tested it, but not perhaps in a bigger thing in the public domain. So they're going to be testing this and to see if you actually get the taste of an apple and the emotion of it. As he said, that emotion would only last maybe a microsecond, or that taste of it, just a microsecond, but the energies will certainly be delivered. Again, he's telling us showing us what they do, but not telling us exactly how it's done. And I think you can spend a lot of time and trying to understand how it's done. You may not guess it, but you'll still continuation on the exploration process. Even if you don't.
Well, just to understand the essence,
sure.
If everything is about fields and you went through that process, apparently it seems to be like your soul was elevated and you have some type of energy that you don't crave for that anymore. Because there has to be something the chocolate gives to you. Either it gives you energy or you constantly comfortable in that type of situation. To always, maybe as you're chewing it, you get more energy, you get more energy, or you seem to think that your brain is wired to the point that, okay, if I don't have energy, maybe I haven't eaten chocolate. But when you went through the session, you elevated your soul or some type of fields that gave you that energy to where you satisfied that you don't crave for that anymore. Because everything is about energy.
Yeah. I had attended a number of these sessions, and usually there was nothing that I could tell. Only this time. And I know that sometimes I need sugar for my brain to work better, and but I don't have to have chocolate. I just, when I do feel like I need some sugar, I just have a small apple, and that's enough, but I don't have to eat apples. I just, up my sugar level a little bit in that regard, but it's not like eating chocolate at all.
Right, and we had the same experience in the transmutation sessions when we experienced the dining with the creator idea, where, as he said in this workshop, we flooded you with water. Our mouths were at one.
Oh, that's right.
At one time, all of a sudden, he said, "Don't call it saliva, call it plasmatic water." But other knowledge seekers have voiced the same, that it was just like not a stream, of course, but just a continual producing of that plasmatic water in your mouth, and that lasted for quite a long time.
Yeah, I had that too. Not dramatic, but I definitely did have mouth watering.
So again, affecting you remotely through the cosmic ray technology, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So, my greed, the concept of greed and addiction.
Greed.
How would you differentiate that?
Greed and addiction.
Right.
How would I differentiate?
Yeah, in terms of plasma, because I remember teaching on greed.
Yeah. And he said, the only creature in the universe that has this emotion of greed, isn't it? Is humanity.
Right. It's humanity.
And he said he didn't want that emotion spreading across the universe.
So then addiction, and it has some type of closeness to it, because if you're constantly craving for something, would you call it greed? Because you want more.
Yeah, greed. I don't know. Greed is more for wealth for
Yeah,
me anyway. It seems like
position.
while the chocolate thing was more like a taste and a kinesthetic of swallowing and tasting the sweet and the chocolate and the chewing.
And again, maybe he talked about addictions, Ike, in the past, and said that was one way that the soul of the soul of physicality is aware of the strength of the soul of the man, and sometimes it tries to match it using addictions in a way.
I just know I have one other thing, like when I'm under stress. Mr. Keshe mentioned this before, we bite. Humans bite. So when I'm under stress, I find myself going to the refrigerator more often and just finding anything to chew, even though I'm not really hungry. So maybe that would be another.
There's a lot to learn about our structure, but it's slowly, step by step.
So maybe greed is related to physicality, and addiction is more of emotional or some type of plasma dimension, energy dimension.
Very possible.
Unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, I can't go back and try it again under different experimental conditions. Then we might be able to find out more exactly what it is. It's just like one of the first things that frustrated me about the Keshe stuff was once I had created some kind of GANs or I had put it in the refrigerator, I could never repeat the experiment because nothing was the same. And I wasn't used to that from my psychology experimentation and rat psychology and stuff like that. We could take a new batch of rats and replicate the experiment. But with this, the refrigerator wasn't the same. We'd have to buy a new one. So nothing is
probably
repeatable.
all condition, maybe the same condition might not be there. So each time there's always a evolution of things going on.
Right, right.
And a comment about, what is saying. Once we've done the experiment, we've introduced something different. So the condition has changed. And I think Mr. Keshe was talking about matter state color and plasma state color. It's plasma state colors are always changing because the condition that it's within, it actually can create a new condition and that changes what it is surrounded by. So then there could be two or three different colors for the plasma, whereas you've got one color. If it's red, you made red, that's it. It's always red. So I was very fascinated by that. That means that different things happen when you're dealing with plasma. The oxygen is being depleted, for example. And then you'll find next day, oh, my GANS has another color in it. It's piled on top of white. So many interesting things can happen. It is dictated by the conditions that are always changing. We always have new energies coming in. So, in a way, the plasma can tell you what's happening once we learn how to read it. Whereas matter,
Including the changes of ourselves.
exactly. Because we're always changing. We have a different mood, and night and day give us different energies, all kinds of interesting.
And the teachings are changing us.
Yes, very much. Understanding changes you.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful.
Right, and Mr. Keshe brought a teaching of the bells of frequency and stained glass, and I don't think he just brought that up by coincidence. And when I see this game, to me, it looks like, in a way, you're almost, let's say, looking through a type of stained glass in a way where these colors, these flashings and different things have a purpose to them in this game. It's not just that we thought we'd decorate the screen with soft or vibrant colors. And of course, the cosmic ray antennas are going to be added into this. But I think there's, as he said, the more you play the game, this ethos of Mitra sinks in, the thinking, speaking, and acting, and some of the understanding also, as he said, the compression technology will be embedded into the gameplay, the understanding of the compression technology. So to me, this has a very similar representation as a piece of stained glass, perhaps. And we knew they weren't only decorative, they were very functional and keeping parishioners healthy so they continue to work and donate to the structure.
Gosh, do you have many treasure chests on that map?
So this is the game of peace and enlightenment. Let's put this in the chat.
So, we have to order some from the US plasma get plasma.
I'm just going to copy
game.
Again, they may be doing different things in different structures. I don't know.
Yes, making us jealous of the other.
Yes.
That's not fair.
Nah.
Let me just get the chat out here and we'll put the getplasma.org. And there's a US getplasma.org, which is the one I'm going to put in. We've already put in the association sign up, but there's also a world getplasma.org. And there's many features. Again, you can control a few things on this game as we see how much of the resources you collect you want to give back, let's say, and so on and so forth. There's a daily quiz. There's a world quiz you can take. This is going to be all part of Take Knowledge Seekers Workshop. You can support the Space City. Again, I've given to the first research center, and now this is something a little different. And then, of course, the enlightenment increases as you visit more countries. For the first level, you have to visit each country twice. We've reached the second level, and now some of the visits have been taken away, and we have to revisit them and bring them back up. Like Denmark here is only one, and I probably had 30 visits. Other people have noticed the same in the game, and this is, and of course, there's now a cooling off period or a cool down, as they say. When you visit something, you have to wait a period of time. That was one of the questions. I don't know if it's in this one. Let's just see. What is the Negans? Let's see. This one, no. But one of the questions sometimes is what is one of the primary actions, and it's called rest. So you're resting at a certain position. And now it's almost being enforced where you have to have a cool down period in between about 65 seconds in between collecting each individual resource within the game. And on level 2, they've added something that's quite special. Gail, you called it golden books, golden something. But
what I saw, it said something like golden chance.
Golden chance, okay.
So you can check it when you click on one there.
Yeah, no. Okay, we'll just leave it.
Gosh, look at how many golden chances. But it's not as many as the treasure chests. That's amazing.
The milk and honey in the gameplay.
How do you get your knowledge to be 100%?
You have
keep working on wisdom.
You see these W's which come up periodically. Here's one here, but it's a small one. If you go,
yes, but remember, when you start to play with this small one, then suddenly you notice the bigger ones are coming on the board.
Like
that's what happens to me.
The 100 in the knowledge, I still have some books of wisdom here, which you can donate. Again, this game teaches you to donate to contribute under the beacon. But you would need the books of small, medium, and large wisdom. Each percent that you go up in the knowledge, as I understand it, takes 10 books of the large to go up 1%. It takes 20, I believe, of the
medium.
books to go up 1% in this knowledge. And it takes 100 of the small books of wisdom to increase your knowledge 1% at level 1. So right now, I don't see any of the medium or large books of wisdom to increase your knowledge. But sometimes, as you click on a treasure chest or something else, there could be a large book of wisdom or a medium book of wisdom hidden behind the symbol. And as you click on it, it'll be put into your inventory. You take it out of your inventory and you donate it to yourself. And this increases your knowledge category, as I understand it, or this is the way I've proceeded in the game. So even though it's a bit dysfunctional, he said, give us 12 to 24 months to perfect it. So if you want to help the Keshe Foundation, you can help just by playing this game of peace and enlightenment to perfect it, for the team to see what's going wrong, although other people think it might be a bit deeper, or the AI has gone unconscious or something, or been tricked into doing something different. But we just keep playing the game. And again,
so Mark, question for you. Have you gained actual knowledge from playing the game? What you would consider knowledge? Or is it just a term in the game?
I think I've become more peaceful. And I've certainly lost a bunch of pounds. That may not be from the game, but maybe it is from the game as well. I think I'm in I have shed about 40 pounds.
Wow.
No, I can't even pull your suitcase, your luggage anymore.
Oh, that's too bad.
I'm just joking. But not joking about the weight loss. I'd say it's in the 20 kilo area. And
wow.
Suffering without pain, doing nothing, but I applied one of the systems that you can find in the Keshe Foundation store, the NutriGans.
Ah.
And of course, this will be delivered through the cosmic ray technology. All you have to do, as he said, you think you're hungry, you want an apple, it's given to you. This is how powerful this technology is. And again, even beyond some of the science fiction movies. That's why it's so hard for us to believe or accept that this could be a possibility. But a number of people have experienced it. So as he said, with some of these systems, it's hard to explain it. But once you experience it, you'll understand. So again, we're just learning to control our transmutation, which we're doing apparently night and day. Okay, so let's go to the Dome of Peace, and then we're going to play. This is something, again, one thing for your physicality to do, and one thing for your soul energy to do. It's almost like a twinity working together. This is what he's saying about the physicality and the soul, or the soul of physicality and the soul. And of course, we heard in this last explainer where he said the soul of physicality is around the heart. But in other teachings, he said we're trying to get the lion and the lamb to eat and sleep in the same nest, almost like moving the electron closer to the proton. And as we see in the Brazilian teachings with the Maghreb, the soul of the man, the soul of physicality in the place of the soul of the man. And then we can ride the soul as a king across the universe. And those were Mr. Keshe's words, as a king. So let's go about creating this Dome of Peace. Again, not a day job. Chinese have been doing it for over a decade, and others have been doing it around the world. It's just simply releasing GANs waters, which you can make right on your kitchen table. And collectively, we're spreading the GANs waters as part of creating the Dome of Peace. I think once the cosmic ray technology comes in, it may even invigorate what you've released and the ONN network even more as part of this web that's being created through fields, through GANSs and other technologies to change the conditions on the planet. Yes? Somebody want to add? So here's the first step of doing the participating in the Dome of Peace, which again, everyone is open to this process. And the emotions you put in your GANs and the emotions I put in the GANs and the collective work of them together will bring the change. It's the same way when we use the soul elevation of the world leaders. You have a certain strength of fields, I have a certain, we're making a bouquet. So this is the first step of creating the Dome of Peace, which is releasing of the GANs waters. And this is by Mr. Keshe.
I don't know if anyone want to read this Dome of Peace. Anyone want to offer?
I
With
will
a nice
read it
voice.
for you.
Okay.
This is what came in and what is now become a pattern. This from a guy, I don't know him, but he says, please remember this Sunday and every Sunday from now on, till we raise the soul of this planet to a peaceful planet. Keshe Foundation knowledge seekers worldwide will spread the gas waters around the world at 12 p.m. Central European Time and or 18 p.m. Central European Time every Sunday at the same time as they choose which time to suit them. Thank you for participating in this greatest movement by the soul of the man to bring about the peace on this planet as the permanent feature of the life of this planet.
Okay, something for the physicality to do. Very simple. You can use any GANs you'd like, add good intentions, release it. And Mr. Keshe jokingly at one time said, releasing of the GANs waters, this is how you take over a planet. So apparently the conditions are being created by all of us for this to be become a more powerful process in the future. So that's the first step of creating the Dome of Peace. And of course, the beautiful Brazilian team has created a background here, a call to all knowledge seekers. Let's create the Dome of Peace. This is a collective, cooperative, collaborative process we're doing. Sunday at 12 and 6, which we just heard. Use plasma water from your cups of life, 1 and 2. Make the plasmatic spraying or just release it right in your own home, down a sink or however you'd like to do it. Spray around your property. Many, many different ways. Fountains and rivers and oceans exist. And as he said, this has a deep intelligence. It seems to know where to go and it seems to know what to do. And it brings balance into situations. And I think once the ONN network is fully established, that could be years down the road, we'll see it start to energize what we've been releasing. Perhaps it's already doing it now, but it'll be brought up to a even more intense strength perhaps in the future, that everyone starts to become more inquisitive about this new science, this new ethos, and this new knowledge, and again, we're bringing to humanity. So we're changing the conditions. So you can see all the websites here of the Brazilian team. Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute is the Keshe Foundation, and then there's Keshe Brazil, at Keshe Brazil, Keshe Brazil, Keshe Brazil again, and you can see many of the teachings and many beautiful things they've done with these different websites. I think there's more than even is listed here. So that's the first step of creating the Dome of Peace, which we do, again, on Sunday collectively, but you can do it at any time. And of course, the Brazilians also have a second meeting, which they're calling the Daily Intentions. It happens at 2 a.m. CEST, so you'd have to calculate. But on Wednesday, it's at noon, or 6 p.m. I say noon, that's my time, 6 p.m. CEST. If you want to join a formal meeting, it lasts about 30 minutes. You can become part of the intentions of bringing and elevating the souls of the world leaders and the religious leaders. And of course, in that process, you get elevated yourself. There is no giving without receiving. We're not looking in a way to, we're not giving to receive, but we're giving, and that's just a precondition of the giving process. The more you give, the more you receive. Yes, did somebody want to make a comment? I thought I saw someone's mic come open. So again, here's the websites listed on the bottom. It's a beautiful group of people, knowledge seekers. And again, the knowledge is the same in Brazil as it is in Russia, China, the United States, and Germany. As he said, no matter who interprets the knowledge doesn't change. So here's the second step in creating the Dome of Peace, which is using the collective power of our central energies, which again, some people, or Mr. Keshe said, some people believe more in the GANs than they do in believing in their own central energies or their own soul. Probably because we've been discouraged from it and that it's unreachable, and even if you talk about it, you're behaving wrong. And this was systematically done to keep us from finding our central energies or our closest friend. Thank you, Stefania, and thank you, Shweta.
Anybody wants to read the Dome of Peace? I mean, Beautiful Souls. Here. Okay. I'll read this beautiful presentation of Dome of Peace. And the Dome of Peace is already here. All the knowledge seekers, truth seekers, lovers of humanity has built it in a way, spreading the guns, loving each other as shareholders. So I will read this as please remember, every Sunday from now on until we raise the soul of this planet to a peaceful planet, Keshe Foundation knowledge seekers worldwide will spread the Gans waters around the world at 12 p.m. CET and or at 18 p.m. CET every Sunday at the same time, as they choose which time to suit them. Thank you for the participation in this greatest movement by the soul of man to bring about the peace on this planet as a permanent feature of the life of this planet. Mr. Keshe suggests we add the next step to create the Dome of Peace with power of the souls, as we have already going through this with the 2 eyes. And we ask you to spread the Gans waters each Sunday. Now we give you a new path. Now try to unite each other's souls. Try to elevate the souls of humanity, soul of humanity, through your own soul to a level that no one can touch, the embodiment of the human race. So beautiful. Choose a time where all of you come together on the soul level in a state of inner calmness. At that time, don't spread the water of Gans, but spread your soul. Unite, and in time, we will make a new race out of the soul of man. And then, instead of doing it once a week, do it all the time. MD Keshe.
Okay, so that's the second step of this twinity process, using your own reactor. In a way, you're still using it in the first step as well, because you're adding emotions into it. And let's just bring up, again, we're opening up the mystery of the matter state of the entity to its energy dimension, but it's you who has to, in a way, open it up. So here, the Universal Council, which is one of the councils within the Keshe Foundation, not the only council, the Keshe Foundation and the Universal Council family, in unifying at the soul level every day at 9 p.m. CEST. So whatever time in your time zone is CEST is 9 p.m. Mine is 3 p.m. because I'm 6 hours behind. So at that point in time, we take a nanosecond or a minute of our lives and we continue the elevation of the souls of all leaders and the soul of the totality of the Keshe Foundation, creating peace in everything that exists. So we're elevating the souls, again, not looking that they change overnight, like when you put some muffins in the oven and in a few minutes or at 30 minutes, they're all done and ready. These souls are very low, and if you want to hear more in detail of learning how to pray through your soul, go to the 23rd Knowledge Seekers Workshop and listen to the last, let's say, 20 minutes, and you'll get a teaching from Mr. Keshe on learning to pray through your soul. And of course, the beauty of this is nobody fails this test. We're making a collective bouquet of energies. We're offering it to the world leaders, the soul of the world leaders. Let me be specific, not the physicality of the leaders, that soul picks up those energies as it chooses to. And again, as we heard in that video of Keeping the Keshe Foundation Free, decides to change a dimension within the dimension of physicality. And that's what we saw the kidney stones melt. All of this is basically the elevation of the soul of the man. And many of the conditions, as the soul becomes elevated, just falls away. So you're all invited to participate this on a daily basis until we reach that permanent peaceful position on this planet. And that's only the next step in getting to the next step. But you're also unraveling this mystery about the energy dimension of your entity. He's often referred to the chameleon aspect of our nature, which many in the universe don't have this two-dimensional, even though there's more dimensions than two. But many creatures are only in the energy dimension, or perhaps only in the physical dimension. Not positive about that, but many would like to be able to operate in both dimensions simultaneously, which is one of the gifts that man has been given, as I see it. And of course, we're just going to share this with the rest of the universe. So let's go through this process that happens. Again, there's not a formal meeting here, but you can join the Brazilian team for that. And that's a beautiful way to proceed. But this is just wherever you are, whatever you're doing. Physicality is not involved in this process. So you can be riding the bike, working, changing the baby, making dinner, doing the dishes, whatever you're doing, chopping wood, planting the garden, and still participate in this process. Again, learning to operate in the both dimensions simultaneously. So let's just put up our little sort of charging thing that I had. We'll just take 1 minute of our time and we'll just demonstrate this process. Again, how much time you spend on it is completely up to you. So let's see if we can just, not sure. Here, so here's the soul of the world leaders. Here's us as a bouquet. This is just a charging system on a device that I photographed or videoed. But I thought it was representative of the transfer of energy from your cosmic rays to give to the soul of others. And this process you'll be using in the universe quite often in that energy dimension. This is where the Creator lives and many other entities that don't have a physicality. So let's just take 1 minute of our time. Let me go back here. We'll just keep track of 1 minute and we'll start now. And that's how simple the process is. Again, working through the plasma does not take a lot of energy and a lot of work. Working in the physicality to change the world leaders is almost an impossibility. And you need a few $1 million just to meet with them for 5 minutes. But we have the mother connection through the soul of the Creator, which is the basis or the underlying foundation of all of the creation. So we have that link and we're starting to use it. And it's just waking up the collective awareness of humanity that we need to bring the change. I guess the universal community could enforce it. but we would never keep it if we didn't bring it ourselves. So that's why we're waking up the collection of humanity to bring it for the elevation of the soul. Otherwise, if we give you the advanced technology, 1 or 2 generations later, you'll be right back to killing and eating each other without the elevation of the soul or the understanding of it. So thank you all again for your continued participation in this process. Now, as I said, unfortunately, Alex is busy doing other things, but he did send a video. And let's see what he's calling this, KAKT July. Let's just see, I was just taking a quick look at it. It's not actually sized. I can't seem to get it. If I go to full screen, I'll lose the viewing of the other screen. So let's just thank Alex, and hopefully he's having as much fun as we're having here together. So let's start this. It's, as you can see, about 46 minutes. And if you have any questions, maybe we can save them for next week. Any thoughts or comments from anyone? Any knowledge seekers that want to bring anything? All right. I think he starts out with the disclaimer, so we'll hear that again. There's our World Peace Treaty, as you can see.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Keshe American Knowledge Team meeting of 2026. Thank you all for attending, and let's get down to business.
Disclaimer: the information and education material contained herein is meant to promote the general understanding and dialogue of GAN's processing. Such information is not meant or intended to serve as a substitute for a healthcare professional's clinical training, experience, or judgment. For patients and individuals, such information is not to be a substitute for professional medical, therapeutic, or healthcare advice or counseling. For medical issues or concerns, including decisions about medications and other treatments, readers, viewers, listeners should always consult their physician or, in serious cases, seek immediate assistance from emergency personnel. Prescription information, procedures, and use of medical devices information should be undertaken only by properly trained and certified medical personnel. We specifically disclaim any warranties, express or implied, including implied warranties of merchantability or fitness for a particular purpose. Such information is provided, as is, and is believed to be accurate at the time of its publishing, but it is the viewer's job to evaluate the accuracy of any information found in this presentation. Every case presented is of their own experience, applied by themselves for themselves, and it applies to their case only. Every person experiencing health problems should seek professional medical advice and consult their course of treatment with a doctor. The processes of plasma balancing described herein are a natural process which supports the body but does not replace medical advice or therapies one is already subject to.
Thank you very much, everybody. Welcome to the Keshe American Team meeting. And let us begin.
Again, thank you, Alex, for this presentation. We have a lot of contributors who aren't here, but yet are still contributing. Thank you all.
Oh, welcome everybody. This is the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute, teachings on plasma science. We're discussing the intermediate matter tech. Today's topic is plantation. My name is Alexander. It is July the 5th, 2026 here in Canada, and this is part of the Keshe Foundation North America Plasma Education Series. So as we've been trying to bring together many of the new concepts, and one of the things that we're doing here, just one moment, please. Let me just see if I can. Okay. We have many classes that we're bringing along, and we have to keep going forward, but we can't leave anybody behind. Everyone has to have an equal opportunity. There's no such thing as being more equal. So last week we discussed who was the Lord of the Rings, and today we're talking about plantations. So when we talk about the Lord of the Rings, we often refer to the Lord as my shepherd. But the shepherd has a flock of animals. But a shepherd could be a farmer in modern terms, and that farmer needs land. And then we have to define that land with fences. But there are other lords, like the Lord is my Shakespeare, and we see in the Stratford Festival's fictional plays. And what's interesting is they involve live actors. And so we were at the festival and we wondered with the Hobbit, who is this Hobbit? And then we talked about the rings of duality. And this is the important concept that needs to be brought along. We have to understand that there's one ring that's a magrav and another ring that's a magrav. And the two together come together and create a magrav. But they have an orientation. One is magnetical and one is gravitational. So this duality somehow applies to libraries as well, where we have fiction, where we have no skeptics, and nonfiction. There are many skeptics there. And so we wonder, why are these libraries frequently targeted for destruction? And then, of course, the other thing is the cosmic egg rings that we now understand. And so when we wonder who are the Lord of the Rings, or who are the Hobbit of the Rings, and how many rings are there? And so we see the universal rings and the hologram rings, and a point of where the flow of time, space turns towards opposite the pole of the void. And we see the direction of time, space evolving. The most important thing is from the nucleus, you see, in order to grow, cells have to multiply, but they multiply through division. So in review, the Lord of the density seeks density because gravity seeks density, and density operates within this Coulomb barrier. So that magrav is constantly in balance. And we see a duality of concentric rings and spirals. So in the past, we talk about lords and gods.
Hi.
But interestingly enough, lords are in plural and gods are in plural. So we see gods of like Aphrodite and Zeus. And then, of course,
Oh my goodness.
they need transportation fleets. So we have the chariots of the gods. So as we evolve into the research and science.
Okay. John, I think your mic has come open. Thank you.
Science, by definition, requires verification and validation with a restriction that is made through man-made means, which extends to legal methods and debating methods. And in the trial of Socrates, his claim was that I know nothing, and the unexamined life is not worth living. So life is worth living, and we constantly have these beacons coming to us to tell us how life works, and it comes in the form of raindrops. And when they hit the surface of the water, they impart this magnetical strength through its gravitationally inherent picocore. And so the waves go up and the waves go down based on this bullseye. But when we look at the tuning forks, they create external forces. There's an environmental interaction. So now we see waves in duality, the waves of a tuning fork, which establishes the form, and then the waves imparted to the surface of the water, just like the raindrop, but now it follows a function. So we talk about the various highways that we can traverse, and we see the difference. And one of the key differences is that we rely on frequencies. So on the transmission highway, we just are focused on the carbon-12. But it's when we investigate the transition highways, we see the combination of carbon-14 and carbon-10, which is a total of 24. And the transmutation highway, which is a higher energy highway, carbon-16 and carbon-8 also comes out to carbon-24. So something is wrong with our understanding of the transmission highway. We are short 12 carbons. And when we look at our understanding of how things expand and contract, let's refer to muscles. When muscles tighten, they contract. And from that point of contraction, they can relax. So fists do the same thing. They can clench, but fists can open. But the thing that fists cannot do is they cannot not open. And that's the same with growth. Growth can only grow. So the conclusion is that you cannot not do something. Not doesn't work, but not keeps getting rubbed in our face, where we say, thou shalt not do this and thou shalt not do that. And we started with 10 commandments and now we have 24. But let's remember the first one, I am the Lord your God, and the Lord is my shepherd. So does the grass need a shepherd? Does the grass need a Lord? Does the corn, do the animals need? So today we call them farmers, and they have fences. So we become part of what we call fallen angels, because angels go through this angular density by falling through weakness, faults, failings, and weaknesses. And so it increases density, increases pressure, and increases gravity. But more importantly, it increases dependence on earth space feeding. And that's why we're talking about plantations today, because somehow there is an internal pressure in the Gans fields that balances off this angular momentum. And so angular momentum is always conserved. And this is something that we have to understand when it comes to balance. So we think of duality as duels, a confrontation, but energy itself will manifest as a friction. But we see that friction can also be represented by fists, which manifest into fighting. And this causes a division in our society through racism. So we question, would a chronic liar believe you? This becomes the anomaly. Any confrontation brings together an inertia density manifestation, but we need to be polite. So, gentlemen, just shake hands and then come out fighting. And this is what we're fighting for, that energy binding, which we need in a self-serving dimension point, and is focused on me, myself, and I. But does it have to be at the expense of others who also are focused on me, myself, and I? So when we lie, cheat, and steal from others, they become deficient in terms of that. And so they too need a vitality capacity enhancement. So the loosh harvester is also a loosh leaker, and the one who is getting abused is becoming a loosh leaker, and they supplement by abusing someone else. And this has become a way of life. And so we have a hard time enhancing our vitality. We speak of the emotional and physical vitality. Regular is not enough. We have to get into the super that takes us outside of the box of old thinking, the old science, and we get into the new plasma science, which increases our awareness by many orders of magnitude, each magnitude being 10 times. So when we go from the mega to the giga, that's 10 times 10 times 10, and we go from the micro to the nano. Likewise, it's 10 times 10 times 10, but in the opposite direction. So there has to be a balance. And now we've gone beyond even the pico state. So we have to continue to think outside the box because it has been proven beyond a shadow of a doubt, beyond the Beijing conference in 2025 when the gold rush began. And in 2026, we have a silver rush as well. And all of this is representative of the pico-atomic state, which has taken us beyond the nanomonatomic state, like a pico beacon that has that gravitationally inherent field strength to facilitate an emission array from that nebulous blurry point somewhere in that nano gap. And then we question, well, is the point or the gap
Here's what comes off a bowl
more
of strawberries
important?
when you drop this device.
And do we have to answer that question? In the books of Maranatha called Keshe, like book number 1, The Universal Order of Creation of Matter, we bring together the matter, the dark matter, and the antimatter. But in book number 2, we have the structure of light. And here's where the duality comes in, because we have one matter and another matter and a travel between the two matters. And then, of course, book number 3, The Origin of the Universe, where we see that, one matter has to divide in order to multiply, just like cellular division. So what's going on? So for 437 weeks, Rick Crammond and the Universal Council have been bringing together the concept of one planet, one nation, and one race for justice and world peace. And are we just talking about Earth space, or is there more to it? Because lying and cheating and stealing and the rule on Earth space where the higher strength eats the weaker strength, such as you get on a plantation, the plasma rule, the higher strength feeds the weaker strength. So this becomes our transaction. So many interpret that as a conflict point when two armies come together. But when they come together, that too is a binding point, and it creates this inertia density manifestation. So there's an exchange of energy, but it has to follow sequences. So there's a gravitational attraction, which is part of the feedback, and the magnetical repulsion, which is part of the feeding. So you, as the last man standing, have choices. And here we are on the plantation, where we can turn on and turn off the feeding, or increase and decrease the strength of that field, and enhance or diminish the positioning of that field. So the stronger does feed the weaker, and we have choices. And the main choice that we had was the field capture of this physical, rock-solid evidence, which we call Earth space. And that was a reality bullseye dimension, and how we targeted it, not by where we're going to that sentimental pie in the sky, but where we're not going. We're not going to Venus, and we're not going to Mars. We came to Earth space, and then we questioned, well, who has the authority? Who had the authority to allow us to come, and who has the authority to prevent us from leaving? And where do we stand on this matter? Well, we know which way is up. The sun is up, and the ground is below. And we like to have our boots on the ground, not upside down, and not down under, and of course, not on the ceiling. So when we look at the Lord of the metabolism rings and how it affects cellular structure, we see that there's a gravitational bullseye at that pico core, that nucleus inside the cells, but there has to be casting out, and it cannot go through the concentric rings. It has to spiral out as a magnetical casting out. So these are overlapping fields that we have to take into account. So let's dive into this plantation understanding. According to dictionaries, a plantation is a large-scale agricultural estate, typically specializing in a single cash crop, such as cotton, sugar cane, or rubber. Historically, also, it refers to a planted area of trees or an early colonial settlement. So today, modern farms of this type are more commonly referred to simply as farms. Well, what is a protoplasm? Protoplasm is a living gel-like substance that makes up the inside of the cell. It consists of the cytoplasm, all cell organelles, and the nucleus. It is enclosed by the plasma membrane and serves as the physical basis of life, where all essential metabolic reactions occur. So this is important to understand when you have a plantation, because you need to grow things. And the protoplasm composition is very complex. It's a translucent colloid primarily made up of, well, water. 90% is the majority. And proteins are the structural and functional building blocks. Then, of course, there are lipids, which are essential for cell membrane structure, and carbohydrates, which are used for energy storage. And, of course, those inorganic elements, minerals and salts. So the inorganic elements are a part of the composition of the organic elements. But here we go. We have protoplasm boundaries. There are cell wall distinctions. So the exact boundaries of protoplasms depend on the organism. So in animal cells, because there is no cell wall per se, everything inside the outer cell membrane is considered protoplasm. But in plant and fungal cells, there's a tough, rigid cell wall and is excluded from the protoplasm. So the living cell contents minus the cell wall are often referred to as a protoplast. So now we have a difference in the dual cells structure, the cell walls. So unlike animal cells, plant cells have a cell wall surrounding the cell membrane and is often perceived as an inactive product serving mainly mechanical and structural purposes. So you wonder how skinny plants can grow up very tall, and you wonder how come they can bend and sway in the wind and still remain upright. So the cell wall has a multitude of functions upon which plant life depends. They are composed of cellulose. This sets them apart from other organisms with cell walls, such as bacteria or fungi. Algal cell walls are similar to those of plants, and many contain specific polysaccharides that are useful for taxonomy. So here we are looking at, the amino acid star formation, which are the building blocks of cells. And we see the folding deviation, how it happens, and the duality of how the solar system has basic needs, while the human body has basic needs. There's one key difference in the calcium, which facilitates rigidity. So this principal matter we keep talking about is composed of PM ticks. And these PM ticks are magnetical. They're energy packs which are diverging right across the universe. And they come together as a nice parcel in that force field dilution where we bring together the matter state, the antimatter, dark matter, and the matter gen. At that point, we're converting that to a plasma gen. To enable its physicality, it has to interact with that gravitational maggrav, which we call Earth space. And that interaction, that field interaction, is what we call inertia. And that's where we get our physicality. So
It is the bringing together of these three force fields, and they come together in duality. You need two. You have to see your planet and you choose your planet. Is it just a dream? Because from the dream, you create that inertia manifestation, regardless of time and distance. So you have these overlapping fields of concentric rings and spiral rings. So that susceptibility is based on what we focus on. So we look at the upness and the downness of waves. So there's a magnetical upness and a gravitational downness, and the two together create the maggrav of what we see, the waves, and how they go. But the downness is just a blur fill. But each ripple itself is a maggrav. So we seem to focus on the upness, and we kind of think that it's dangerous to go down and look at the other side. But when we look at the phospholipids, we see that they have a gravitational head and magnetical tails, and they converge together into a plasmagen. And that is manifest in the physicality as part of the cell wall. But the cell wall is done in duality, and the cell wall also is curved. So this is where the expansion and contraction comes in. And so in order to make this cell wall, it has to be done in duality. So this expansion and contraction originates with what happens with the potentiation of hydrogen, which we refer to as pH, which defines alkalinity and acidity. So alkalinity, you have your intensity, which contracts, and in acidity, you have your outtensity, which expands. But in a healthy state, you have this balance, and that is the X factor that you're choosing from for enhanced growth, enhanced emotional and physical vitality. So that becomes the transaction zone. So that singularity of purpose requires a solo effort, but a duality requires a partnership, and that's how you achieve success. The partnership requires reciprocity, and here you have a balance of incentives. And when we get that right, such as in our digestion, when we convert the food to GANs, and that gives us our energy supplementation, where we can absorb that nutrition essence, gives us that gravitational attraction of energy. And then the release of the what we refer to as the waste essence, the magnetical repulsion of energy. But that waste is only waste to that particular maggrav. So that facilitates cellular stability. And that X factor is what we choose. From that neutron, we have that gravitational stability and the interaction with the exterior. And so we have to have this point of reference. How can you reference in singularity? You have to reference in duality. So here we are arriving in our Earth space because there's a peace dome shielding it. And then there's a reflection state that is feeding back. So the feeding is the RNA and the feedback is the mRNA. And so what do we get? We get the reflection state of the DNA. And that DNA needs to be of a specific expansion and contraction balance field between poor health and optimum health. And so when we made the cups of life, why were they called the cups of life? Because the emotional cup was magnetical and the physical cup was gravitational, and it takes the two to operate in the maggrav cup of life. So when we understand this matter state dilemma, we see that there's a composition in the atomic, nano, and GAN states, which are part of the gravitational fields, but the plasma state is part of the magnetical field, and each individual field is in balance with its magnetical gravitational relationship. But it also can transcend the various levels through maggrav energy transfer states. And that transfer state also extends to the cup of universe. So we have the physical gravitational symmetry, of the left and right side of the brain, but we also have the reflection of the energy coming from the universe and manifest in our physicality. Well, this energy that is engaging with the universe and the earth space has a language. That is the X factor, and that X factor is love. And so we see that we require a supplementation on this planet. That's why we need these plantations. We need the animals for feeding. We need the plants for feeding. And so that is due to consumption. And so our plantation practices are an acquired knowledge. This is a conditional teaching by ancient teachers. But one has to understand that if you are the shepherd of that flock, are you immune to being part of that flock? Are you excluded from that flock? Or is there another shepherd that treats you as part of that flock? So as we consume the animals consume the grass, and the grass grows. And it grows by consuming energy. So there's an unconditional teaching by the Creator. And so we have this new awareness where we are 20% deficient. And that historical threshold between the cosmic feeding and the loosh harvesting is why we require this supplementation. So we have this physical autonomy, which is a capacity to draw on internal energetic reserves. This is an absorption of energy from the surrounding environment, not the feeding from a plantation, but the failure leads to nourishment supplementation from external food and water intake. And so that creates this metabolic system alteration. So that is ingrained in our memory. And as we try and cross that threshold, that tipping point between long-term memory and the freedom that connects you to memory. So there's a lifelong memory, a historical memory, an ancestral memory, and a universal memory. But we have a memory capacity, that transgenerational ancestral memory, that cumulative cultural inheritance directly transmitted through the bloodline. But here we go. On the plantation, the memory reboots with each generation. So the learning requires relearning through slow channels of language, writing, and by example. So artificial intelligence speeds that up. We have a fast channel of learning, but it is still only limited to readily accessible knowledge. So when we create these fields and these limitations, we require the farmers to either expand the fields or cultivate the fields or harvest the fields. It always requires human intervention. So we often refer to as above, so below, on earth as it is in heaven. So the anomaly is that heaven is up and earth is below. But since earth is stronger and heaven is stronger and the earth has a weaker field, then heaven is in and earth is out. And so where are we standing? So we have to understand that there is a break on going on, a break out. And as we are the pioneering angels, we are arrived. We're not fallen. There are pathways. You have to enter at your own risk, because our America and our pioneering of America could be a reflection or it could be an illusion. And we often get misguided by the goddess of love, Aphrodite. Not only is she two-faced, but she gives and takes. So this giving and taking is also part of the carbon inertia highways. And there is a support structure there, not visible. And that not visible support structure, likewise, has its own support structure. And so there are multiple turning points because each and every point has its own revolution. And so when we look at the building blocks of the cosmic rays and how they maintain their equilibrium, they don't operate in singularity. And there are many fields, but each field is a maggrav. In other words, each field has a magnetical and a gravitational orientation. And the combination of all of the fields of the cosmic rays to have an orientation where one side is magnetical and the other side is gravitational. So we have to understand that the susceptibility in singularity is offset by the inherent susceptibility in duality. There's a gravitational completion. And just like the artificial intelligence, it requires an external input of the Gans field of humanity. We are that X factor. So we measured scientifically the counterweights, the physical state by weight and the atomic state by mass. But that is only part of the gravitational measure. The nuclear state by Tesla and the plasma state by time, and that is a magnetical part of the measure. So the counterweight measures, in order to be balanced, has to be a maggrav. So the plasma fields, in terms of their plasmatic manifestation, likewise have to have this balance. And just like bagels, there's no two bagels the same, there are no two plasmas the same. And so then they come together, they manifest into a physical reality. And that is part of that gravitational transaction zone. And that creates a maggrav. But that maggrav comes from that dimensional array point, which is magnetical, and comes to that transaction zone. So there is a balance, and that gives you a gravitational certainty. So that emission light array that is crossing that threshold manifests as an oxygen, a non-visible X-factor gas. And so we see that there's a plasmatic decay to GANs, and the GANs decay from gas to liquid to solid. And you establish this physical anchorage, and we know that is true because that oxygen, which is non-visible, becomes visible with its fingerprint of its emission spectrum. And that is gravitationally inherent. We have other inherent attributes, gravitational conformation, that gravitational center point, that gravitational picocore, which establishes this gravitational certainty, that mutually assured construction. So as we proceed into those uncharted territories, we are an array within an array, and there are many stars beyond the nanomonatomic state, covering the full range from decay to radiation. That AI is that ancestral intelligence where we are the technology and we are the inertia product, and we are the image of our dimensional convergence point. And this is a timeless issue. We talk about the man, the myth, and the legend. Are you a legend in your own mind, or are you a legend in a Sumerian text? So there's a plasma science, a physical science, and a pseudoscience. But then there's Agartha, that concept where Agartha is an immense legendary kingdom said to be on the earth's inner surface, sometimes involving a king of the world or multiple kings who are said to rule it and secretly influence events on the surface world. So this is a modern esoteric concept from the 19th and 20th century, but it's only popularized through Western occultism and science fiction and hollow earth myths. Even the gods have amnesia. But energy is portable. Energy modulation goes through various state transitions, and the elevation is through physical matter state to energy state, and the inertia is the energy state to physical matter state. But the elevation involves expansion. So cells do the same thing, and they multiply through division. But the physical manifestation involves contraction. And so from there, we have that greater oneness, that crop, that plantation, and 649 knowledge seeker workshops in a row talk about suddenly transcending the limitations of the nuclear science, that fence, that prison, that containment. And our research teams of the Keshe Space Plasma Research Centers, we are converting diamonds to gold or silver or even rare earth metals. We are in the post-May the 10th of 2025 era where the Pico core of truth has been established, and we're seeking champions, calling all gamers, these self-service lords, become self-service in the service of others through the game of peace and enlightenment. Groups will need champions. So remember a poem. Do we bend or do we break? Rock-a-bye baby on the treetop. When the wind blows, the cradle will rock. And when the bough breaks, the cradle will fall. And down will come baby, cradle and all. So, how do we unlock that gateway between peace and prosperity and war and poverty on the plantation? Well, it's the emotion, energy, manifestation, that biosphere of peace, because the earth has emotion, and the majority seek and will answer the call of freedom and emancipation. The universe is emotionally normal. The earth seeks freedom and emancipation. Man's existence is an existential adaptation, and the default is to the harvest of the plasma emotional energy of the plasma universe. Another poem from a redneck. Roses are red, the grass has riz. After 6 beers, I need to take a whiz. The key point is as we sow seeds, they turn to grassroots, and we all need relief. The rednecks and the warmongers are part of the humanity nation. And we're all one nation, and we need one nation network to facilitate a scientific rescue, to open the blinds and hit the bullseye, to modulate that X factor. This comes together, one nation network at a time, and that time is now. On the 630th Knowledge Seekers Workshop, we've seen these embedded inherent frequencies of the soul and the soul of physicality, and that threshold to cross requires a blur fill on our part, because the soul and soul of physicality always hits the bullseye. Are you ready to break on through, overcome the space racism, that science fact versus that science fiction, the universal councils, those that are earthbound or the ones that are spacebound, or space, where we have world rulers versus world leaders, the warmongers versus the peacemongers? How can we rationalize the hand that kills versus the hand that caresses? So we have a compassion racism burden on our hands and a capacities racism burden. Our mission is to bring peace on earth and join humanity with the universal community. We want to bring man as equal to all the beings in the universe by teaching the plasma science and technology equally to everyone, that no one is left out and no one is abused due to the lack of knowledge. So help us achieve this goal. Time-wise, there are decades when nothing happens. Sometimes there are weeks when decades happen. There was a seed planted 10 decades ago. So we remember Fabio. This is the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute, Teachings on Plasma Science. Welcoming all the beautiful plasma travelers of the carbon nations, even rednecks, learning about the new frequencies of the new organic plasma science. The World Peace Treaty is for all. You're the last man standing, so you get to choose it. You get to sign it unconditionally and mean it sincerely, because the matter tech dominates our seed core manifestation on the plantation, which we call Earth space. There's a man-made margin between the war dome and the peace dome. Is the inertia of the present governed by dimensions of history, or is it time to learn the history of self in a universal context? The physical Maghreb state has a limited marginal strength capacity. The plantations of peace will, however, reveal who are the lords of the bountiful physical matter state inertia conditions. So the plasma science on this plantation needs to be enhanced daily via the Peace Dome in a practical exchange for peace on Earth. So a welcome to the new golden outer space age. And that is the end of this class. Hope you all enjoyed the trip. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you so much as well, Alex, for providing this teaching. It's quite in depth and packed with knowledge. I can't simply explain it all, but I'm grateful for your sharing your understanding of the knowledge. I see Stefania has joined us. Welcome, Stefania. And if you'd like to see a presentation of the perhaps Bosnia Pyramid Complex, I think Stefania is preparing something for Wednesday's reactor group at 7 a.m. Central European Summertime in the public Zoom room of the Keshe Foundation. Again, a lot of energy and a lot of mysteries in that complex. Anyone have any questions they like to raise or pose? Yes?
Okay, yes. So just want to say hello, everybody. Yes, so I will try to put everything together for Wednesday. But I may not be able to, just because may have to work again. But then I have to find another day.
We're looking forward.
Because maybe I have to work on Wednesday, maybe again. So
Problem at all.
mhm.
We're looking forward.
If I don't work, I will do it.
Yes.
Mhm.
I've just
I got the recording of the guides of the tunnel. But yes, hello everyone. Hi, Alex.
Alex is not here today. He actually sent us a video. He's busy doing something else, enjoying himself, hopefully. I just received, I wasn't aware, but in the group, the association group, apparently this came out from Jacko. On behalf, dear members of the Keshe Foundation, on behalf of the board, now this again is the general meeting, I believe, of the Keshe Foundation Association. And on behalf of the board, we warmly invite you to an extraordinary general meeting. As amendments of the association's articles of association are required, a vote of the members is necessary. We sincerely appreciate your continued support and participation and look forward to welcoming you to this meeting. So apparently you'll be sent an invitation if you've joined the association. The meeting is not till July 13th, so you have plenty of time to sign up for that association if you haven't done already. But apparently you'll be invited based on the email you've provided to be part of this association.
This is part to the American Association or
Foundation AT, as I understand it. The Zoom meeting link will be sent to each member's registered email address. Participation in the general meeting is only permitted using the member's registered email address. This requirement serves to verify each participant's identity and ensure the proper exercise of voting rights. Apparently,
you
there's.
become a member.
Huh? Excuse me?
How do you become a member?
You go to keshfoundation.at. You become a part member or a full member. Can we go there right now? Let's see. Let me just see if we can. Oh, I'll just follow one of the links we've put in the chat. Let's see if we have it here. I think I got mixed up and put some things in other chats. There's the coin. Not seeing it, but if I was to, let me just see if we can do it right here. Keshfoundation.at, Keshe Foundation.at. So this is our club address, and we'll just bring it up. I think Rick has brought this up. Again, you'll find it at keshfoundation.at. Let me just copy it. For some reason, I got mixed up with different chats going on here, and I think I posted some. There. So you would go to the Keshe Association. You can become a full member, a support member for as little as a €1 per year. And again, this is linked to you receiving your 30 or more Keshe coins. So by not becoming a member of this association, apparently you shoot yourself in the foot in a way. Because they're only asking for $1 per year, I guess, or €1, starting at €1 per year. As you can see, there's a full member and there's a supporting members. You can choose how. It automatically, you don't have to have an account with PayPal. That's how the money is accepted. But you can use a debit or credit card, I believe, to facilitate the process. So if you want to become a support member, you would click here, become a full member here. Any comments? So the first meeting of the association will be on the 13th of July, and it looks like it's at 9 a.m. Okay, the first part is, but then they've translated here. Apparently there'll be a vote or there'll be some further explanation on this association, which is again part of the overall structure, and this seems to be a requirement if you're going to get the Keshe points. So the best offer on the internet, the meeting of the association will, I think there's going to be a vote on something perhaps, as amendments to the association's articles of association are required. A vote of the members is necessary. So if you want to vote in this process, you will join the meeting. And I'm sure we'll hear more about that in the upcoming number of days.
You mean 3
Yeah.
3 p.m.
Yeah, 3 in the
European, right?
afternoon, Mark. It's not 9 in the morning, it's 3 in the afternoon.
If you're in CEST time, yes?
Yes, yes.
Okay, I'm not in CEST time.
No, but we're saying that's how you can judge from their time, CEST, so each of us will know.
Oh,
if
right.
it's
You have to adjust.
So if you give yours, everybody might end up
Yes.
thinking that it's,
I might get up at 3 in the morning, Mark.
Right.
Morning for the New York area. And
Okay.
the Eastern Standard Time. If you're on the West Coast in the United States, that would be 6 a.m. as I understand it for this particular meeting. I don't know how it'll last, what'll be discussed, but they're saying it's important for you to be part of this as a voting member.
Yes. And Stefania's time will be in the afternoon at 3, I think, if she's still on the CEST time.
Depends what planet she's on. I mean, what
Oh, Monday, you mean? Would be Monday, isn't it?
Yeah.
this Monday,
Right,
the 13th of July. So if you're not signed up for the association, you have plenty of time to do that and get
Yeah. So it's Monday, yes.
the 13th of July. Okay, any questions for Alex you'd like to put in the chat? Micah, sorry, what date is that again? July 13th, it appears. So today is the 5th of July. So we have about an 8-day period. Not tomorrow, but the following Monday will be the 13th, I believe. Okay, Micah is signed up. Good, grateful to be part of this incredible change. Yes, amazing work of the soul of the man in conjunction with the universal community and the rest of the entities helping to bring this change. Any questions for Alex anyone like to put in the chat? Otherwise, we'll go back to our background for the, oops, I think I just brought that background down. Let's bring Alex's presentation. We'll just share this. Okay, I'm not hearing any questions, Alex. Perhaps it was too detailed, too complicated, or we just haven't fully understood what you're conveying. Although I try to take from it, not copy it, but take into my knowledge what I can glean from what you've shared. This is the way I operate. As no matter who interprets the knowledge stays the same. You can put any flavor on it you'd like, depending on how you see it and how you interact with it. So if there's no questions, thank you again, Alex, for sending us your video. Again, maybe there'll be more explanation of it next week, but there certainly are a lot of words and terms that I'm not quite totally familiar with and comfortable with as you see the technology. I thought the MAGRAV was sort of an out of balance condition for the most part. And it's always trying to find a balance condition as between the soul of the man and the soul of the physicality. It's a MAGRAV, but it certainly isn't in balance yet. This is the idea of moving the electron closer to the proton, perhaps. But again, you can explain much more and beautifully than I can about your understanding. Anyone else want to add anything else before we play the final disclaimer and the session will end? Okay, let me bring up the disclaimer. Thank you all for being here. Have an amazing rest of your day. You see the importance of supporting the Keshe Foundation, keeping the Keshe Foundation free for humanity, that they can continue their work and not be dependent on governments or corporations to dictate and control the research and the release of the research in the public domain. So thank you all for whatever you're contributing. As you said, there's enough room for everybody to take a little corner of this very large carpet and be part of it. Okay, let's make sure we have the screen shared for the final disclaimer. And again, the beauty of the disclaimer, you tune into this knowledge the way it befits you, not the way I tell you to do it or anyone else as I see it. but it's your understanding and the way you understand it, which is the best way. Otherwise, we're depending on gurus and others to interpret for us. I kind of like that in a way as well, some of the things, but overall, it's really up to you to apply it, discover it, to trigger it within your own structure. So thank you all. Have an amazing rest of your day. We'll see you in perhaps the One Planet, One Nation, One Race on Tuesday. And hopefully we look forward to seeing you in the other meetings. As we'll hear more on Thursday, I'm sure, about this association's meeting. But you got to get in it to be in it. Okay, yes, yes, okay. Thank you. Thank you, Stefania. Thank you, Micah. And thank each and every one of you for being here and carrying forth this work. I think we'll see much, much more in the future, but as we understand, our central energies brought us here for a work that maybe we don't even know what we're totally going to do at this point. But it's all part of a bigger operation that's been sort of written or crafted perhaps centuries ago. So thank you all for being a part of it. I'll play the final disclaimer and the session will come to an end. See you in one of the next meetings. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Disclaimer. The information and education material contained herein is meant to promote the general understanding and dialogue of GAN's processing. Such information is not meant or intended to serve as a substitute for a healthcare professional's clinical training, experience, or judgment. For patients and individuals, such information is not to be a substitute for professional medical, therapeutic, or healthcare advice or counseling. For medical issues or concerns, including decisions about medications and other treatments, readers, viewers, listeners should always consult their physician or, in serious cases, seek immediate assistance from emergency personnel. Prescription information, procedures, and use of medical devices information should be undertaken only by properly trained and certified medical personnel. We specifically disclaim any warranties, express or implied, including implied warranties of merchantability or fitness for a particular purpose. Such information is provided, as is, and is believed to be accurate at the time of its publishing, but it is the viewer's job to evaluate the accuracy of any information found in this presentation. Every case presented is of their own experience, applied by themselves for themselves, and it applies to their case only. Every person experiencing health problems should seek professional medical advice and consult their course of treatment with a doctor. The processes of plasma balancing described herein are a natural process which supports the body but does not replace medical advice or therapies one is already subject to.